for a minute.
Or NBA East basketball commentary.
Episode recording live. Man, the missus made like some mashed potato type stuff with cauliflower. It's got bacon and cheese and shit on it. Oh, junk's good.
Was Julius Randle there?
It's good. Well, he likes cauliflower.
I don't know. I'm just making conversation. They keep showing them on the screen.
All I did was lift up.
What he says a hard foul.
All I did was lift up.
They didn't give him a technical.
I don't think so.
They just arguing it's a hard foul. That's it. Wonderful.
We're live, b-holes. I've seen people get technicals for less.
Yes, yeah. Julius Randle's like, that bullshit, man. He's yelling at the guy. I love watching stuff on mute, man. I can just read the lips.
Yeah.
It's bullshit, man.
That's what I'm having to do. You're asking me like, was it a technical foul? I'm like, I have no clue. I'm just watching.
Oh, they had to sit him down. He got in foul trouble, didn't he? Was that the second one?
It's early, man. It's still the first period. Did it count? All right, Brand. Thanks for building the news.
You are welcome.
Y'all think we can get through this one pretty quick?
No, you're gonna jinx it. Just go with the flow.
It'll be an hour 48. Just want to fucking.
I don't think it'll be that long. So.
Brant, did you play a lot?
No, not really.
We'll have another Mass Effect discussion. Brant, you got your hands full.
I'm limited on my discussions because I'm waiting on Richard. So
much obliged.
I mean, there's literally nothing I can talk about Mass Effect 3 anymore unless I go into spoiler region.
Do not do that. Are you guys ready?
Spoil the ending that everyone hated, apparently.
It's three colors. That's all I know.
Just like, meh. I thought it was like, it's an ending. It's not the greatest ending. It's not the worst ending.
It's not what people wanted.
No, people lost their shit.
Michael texted me saying he beat it. He said we had a good discussion on it last week, so that was some good feedback.
For whatever reason, I can get into Mass Effect and talk about that. That's not a problem. Other things, maybe not. So.
Other things, maybe not.
Yep. Unless you want me to talk, I can literally sit here for 3 hours talking about anime if you want. I'm watching 7 or 8 shows at the same time right now.
Make your own sideshow and record that podcast. Not tonight.
I didn't say I could. I didn't say I'm going to. So
you could put that content out there.
Myself the last couple weeks.
Do some watch-alongs with anime. Put it in the little tiny window in the corner. We just watch you.
Yeah.
Like a caged animal. We just watch you watch anime.
I consume anime. I don't watch anime.
I consume. At a torrid
He's a glutton
pace.
for anime.
No, I do most of my watching anime on the treadmill. So since I'm running on there for an hour a day, so
that's a good time.
Yeah, I can't go anywhere else, and all the other shows on TVs above me in the gym are crappy. So it's always about paternity court or Springer, or it's always some random thing on there. I always look up like, nah, this is good.
There's nothing in my teeth. All right, here we go. Y'all ready? Is that episode number right, Brant? Did you update it?
Yes, I did. Do you want me to? Should I double check just to make you feel better?
No. Yep, you're good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 161. Thank you, Brant, of the NOFODcast. We are No Outside Food or Drink, the Southeast premier video game podcast. I can't believe there's been 161 of those, like 161 Dalmatians, but here we are. Tonight, press A for Dragon Quest 12. We all know what that reference means. Sonic the Hedgehog news. There's a shit ton of it. Get ready to hear it here. Good looking gameplay on the horizon. Brant, we see what you did there. Cesar just shrugs it off. New God of War delayed. Okay, so we gave this vague story and then we just new God
And
of War.
we're moving
delayed.
on.
Crisis Trilogy announced. I edited that one a little
There
bit.
we go.
We're back.
This is the content we paid for.
We're back to normal.
Yeah.
This is where my Patreon bucks are going.
Get that remastered in.
I'm sure at some point in the episode. And we have your new Game Pass and PlayStation Now titles. I am, of course, Richard Bergman, joined tonight by Newsmaster Brant McKee.
What's up, sir?
And anime consumer Cesar Concepcion II.
I eat anime and I also consume it by purchasing it.
Does that also mean you defecate anime?
I guess that would be how the digestive system works. So yes.
Do you cycle? Is that how you cycle through? Do your kidneys process it? Do you urinate?
I just shit out the bad stuff like Seven Deadly Sins, the new season, some like crappy stuff.
Or Bleach after episode 4.
Oh man,
shut your mouth.
We talk so much shit about Bleach, and I bring this up every week. I look at my Bleach collection on the shelf, and I have 10 Blu-rays, 1 through 10 of Blu-rays of Bleach. I have almost the whole saga. I think there's only 2 more left now. I will own all Bleach on Blu-ray.
Enjoy. There's something for everybody.
Yeah, it's there. I'm gonna skip past all the fillers.
It's all filler after they leave the initial premise. The initial premise is where it's at. And if his dad's not kicking him in as soon as he comes in the door.
I would like to recommend for you Bleach Volume 1. That is all you need to own. And you can probably throw away the last disc of that volume and you're good.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Solving mysteries.
Yeah. We're there.
I'm going to write a path where Ichigo never goes to Soul Society. He's just solving mysteries on Earth.
Oh, God. Here we go. Fanfic. You can get angry online when somebody does something different now. Here we go.
My fanfic. My Bleach fanfic.
That's... I think what you're looking for is more Yu Yu Hakusho Spirit Detective then.
Yu Yu Hakusho is good as hell.
Would I like that? Does that sound like the right thing?
Probably.
Yeah.
And it's short-ish. It's really not very long at all.
Yeah.
It's only 15 Blu-rays, SSR.
No, 4 Blu-rays. Things
Dual layer?
100 episodes. I got them all. They're good. Yu Yu Hakusho's good.
Dual layer? Are they are we talking 50 gig Blu-rays here?
BD50. BD-50.
BD-50, baby.
And Richard, you would enjoy it too because I did see something today. It's been a while since I've watched Yu Yu Hakusho. But they threw in references because, of course, there's a fighting tournament in the show, okay. And there were screenshots of that episode of the fighting tournament, and in the back, in several different screenshots, you can pick out Street Fighter 2 people that are just kind of hanging out in the back.
Oh, good references. I thought you were gonna
see like Chun-Li.
I thought you were gonna start talking about CRTs or something. I thought that's where it was headed.
No.
Yep, they're in there too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's old school.
Everything's better with CRTs.
Yep. Oh my God, really?
Brent, did you get your new one hooked up at your spot yet? I mean,
no, not
yet.
Did
you get yours?
It's sitting back here.
Sure.
Cesar, did you hook up your tube? You seen anything on the tube yet?
It is on the it's in the other room.
Okay, I'm happy with this.
It is plugged in. I did buy this since it was $15. I hooked it up onto it later.
I got the same thing. Mine came in today. Mine came in today.
The hot Miami, like I'm in the 80s. Like I'm Miami Vice in it. That's the first thing I saw when I saw Miami Vice.
Yeah, it looks like
I'll buy Miami Vice NES.
It totally looks like something from Vice City. Well, remember, I think you came over when I got we both ended up getting that Hyperkin Genesis one, but I unboxed it. We tried it out a little bit, but the controller was surprisingly good. So I'm looking at that $15 on Amazon. I'm like, hey, I might be in it for the controller just to try it out.
$15 is my buy price. I looked at regularly $25, $15. I was like, yeah, let me go ahead.
Look it up and see. I'm willing to see, or I'm interested to see what you end up thinking. That'd be something fun to stream.
I do have a loose copy of Double Dribble I can test out in there, so I'm looking at Double Dribble to speak.
You almost lost me. You said Double Dribble. I was like,
no.
So
I got Double Dribble, or I have Dragon Warrior Box 2.
Double Dragon Warrior.
I was gonna say put them together, the Double Dragon.
So I have the Dragon Warrior 2 box with the manual and the map on how to play the game.
Okay.
So I can pull out the map and everything. So.
Does it tell you what buttons to press to go up and downstairs?
I'll figure it out. There's only 2, so.
Yeah, there are only 2. Is there no more on the Miami Vice edition? They didn't put like any extra buttons or a hyper button or anything?
No turbo mode or anything like that. Nothing nothing like that. Unfortunately,
did it come with 1 or 2 controllers?
One.
Okay.
Just one, I think, from I can tell.
Yeah, I'm interested to try it out. And one of the reviews I looked at, the person's first controller port was broken, so you might want to check that out first and just kind of make sure that's good to go. I'm gonna do the same with mine.
Appreciate you telling me that. I will fuck with that
Mm-hmm.
this week.
I got one down here.
There we go. That's our first swear word. Somebody put up the counter.
Fuck it.
That's second. Two swear words.
We're on a roll. Speaking of pressing A to stairs, we have the 12th iteration of A stair stepping coming up. Square Enix, this comes from The Verge. Square Enix has announced the latest mainline entry in the Dragon Quest series. Dragon Quest XII, The Flames of Fate, was revealed on a live stream to celebrate the series' 35th anniversary. Not much announced beyond the logo and title. Still going to be the traditional turn-based battle system and a simultaneous worldwide release, which I know is a big thing for the series. They also showed off. Square Enix also announced 5 more Dragon Quest titles during the broadcast. Dragon Quest Treasures, a treasure hunting RPG starring characters from Dragon Quest XI, a remake of Dragon Quest III in a similar HD-2D visual style to Square Enix's Octopath Traveler. This looked really, really cool, by the way. The next major expansion of Dragon Quest X, the Japan-only MMO. Dragon Quest X Offline, a top-down version of 10 that doesn't require an internet connection. Interesting. Maybe we get that one.
Never.
Dragon Quest Keshi Keshi, a mobile puzzle game. So after a dearth of no Dragon Quest for years and years and years, it seems like it has finally reached the audience that it was after all this time.
I mean, after you put it on every fucking available platform ever made, so instead of just gating it on one platform every...
Yeah, because Nintendo was carrying that banner for a long time. We wouldn't even have gotten those, correct, if it weren't for Nintendo?
They paid for that translation, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can give them shit, but, it's the same thing. So, I mean, what was it? The Dragon Warrior 7 was PlayStation only, and then we had, 8 on PS2, and the portable ones were locked by Nintendo on 3DS, and then 9 was locked on there. 10 we'll never fucking get ever. So,
and then 11 was a huge success and is available everywhere. So,
but at least 10 we can finally get one that's offline. You just got to do the hard work of learning Japanese, and then bam.
Of course.
Yeah.
The only barrier to entry. Learn the Japanese.
Yep.
All right, that's all the Dragon Quest. There was also a big Sonic event. Does somebody want to fill us in on these Sonic games as he goes fast?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
So Sonic goes fast, and he collects rings and things of that nature, which we all know from the movie was given to him by his mother, which is an owl or something.
I still haven't watched the movie yet.
I still haven't. I remember from what Richard said.
Good.
I have it on 4K Blu-ray. I bought it.
Oh, I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the second one. That movie was good.
On your recommendation alone, I've almost watched it a couple of times, but just we've always had something else going on.
Sit back, put aside the time, sit back. Don't worry about this crazy story. Just have fun with a Sonic character movie, and it'll be everything you want it to be. I enjoyed every minute with it.
So our Sonic news comes to us from Andrew Webster via The Verge.
The Verge
dictionary.
The Verge. So first thing was Sonic Colors. Sonic Colors Ultimate is what they're calling it, is the remake of Sonic Colors, which will be coming to PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch on September 7th.
This had been rumored, right? Or was this just a big wish list for people?
It was rumored.
I believe, I believe this was rumored.
Somebody had leaked it on a LinkedIn profile somewhere that a Colors Remaster was coming. I think that's how it all started.
This is a good-ass game, right? This one's always pretty highly regarded. I think, Cesar, you made me buy this one back in the day.
Yeah.
This one's made by Dimps. Did I get that right? Not by Dimps?
I believe so.
Okay.
It might have been a Crow production with a Sonic Team. Because I know Sonic Team's working on the next Sonic game. That's probably what Brand's going to be talking about soon. I was laughing on Twitter because someone was like, the Ultimate version. They're like, was there any DLC or anything else released with this game to make this Ultimate? They started the whole conversation on Twitter. Yeah. So But yeah, I'm sorry, Brent.
All
Continue,
DLC
finish
included.
your,
Hey, if there was
yeah.
none, can you put that on the box? Can you just say?
It is now since it's never been
Yeah,
before.
Super Mario Brothers, all DLC, Game of the Year edition, all DLC included.
So the other reveal was a trailer, teaser, I guess, for a new 3D Sonic game, which
It's
is
not Sonic
rumored,
Forces 2.
which apparently Sonic press the press release, they accidentally leaked the name and then they redacted it and really sent out another press release saying, that's not right. That was something
Was that the
else." But
Rangers
it's
one I kept
rumored,
seeing?
yeah, it's rumored to be Sonic Rangers is what they're calling it, which immediately just goes Burning Rangers in my mind.
Sonic the Firefighter. At
Yeah,
last.
but
Give the people what
and
they want.
the thing is this game is rumored to have, it's rumored to be like an open world kind of game that involves mechanics such as you would see in certain Ubisoft titles where you climb towers. Yeah.
Far
So
Cry.
uh, we'll we'll see how this one pans out. I mean,
Pans is the key
I know
word.
a lot of people were hoping for maybe a Sonic Adventure 3 or something like that, but Sonic 3D Sonic games have been hit or miss within the past several
25
years.
years.
I don't
Yeah.
think you can get any worse than Sonic 2006. So that's the low bar.
Was that truly a bad game, or was it just
Um,
off-putting?
It was just a shitty game on PS3 just because the frame rate was garbage,
Yeah,
and it was better to play it on
sucked.
360, and it just was. It was just boring. It's a bad game. It's bad.
And they
then he was
decided to call that one Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic, yeah, and then he ends up like making out with like a real life girl. And I was like, this is like it's like 100% Howard the Duck vibes from the 80s movie
But
where like Leah Thompson was sleeping with Howard the Duck, and I'm like, what's happening?
But there's always
So-
been weird, like, cross-human stuff with Sonic series, right?
Howard. No, that was the first time with that one. I don't remember a human. Outside. Well, there's human people that populate that world. But
Yeah.
there's never one where he kissed. So
I don't know where to go
I don't
with
know.
that.
I don't know what you want to do with that information.
So no
but
kissing?
It's there. It's out
You
there.
don't want kissing in your Sonic games.
Sure.
I mean,
It's like when I watch Howard. It's like when I watch Howard the Duck. It's that whole scene where she sleeps with Howard the Duck. I'm like, this is weird, but
okay,
it's in there.
let's build the perfect 3D Sonic game then. Cesar says no kissing. Brant, what do you have to add to the title?
Just going fast. It's got to be fast.
So why is this not? That's the only requirement. So why is this
It's
not?
got to be fast, man.
That could be taken negatively as well, sir. So
Have they ever aped that Mario 64 concept? Because that was. Have they ever gone for? It's as simple as get the ring at the end of the. You could do the 100 rings. You could do the 8 red rings. You could do the. You know what I mean? You could make that. You could make that platformer, and I think with this era of the Crash, Crash coming back and that trilogy doing well, and the Spyro trilogy doing well, Mass Effect trilogy is doing very well. I don't see how you don't use that formula. Is that something that people would want to play and finally get? It would be cool to me to experience maybe where they wanted to go after all these years. But that's just because we're a bunch of fucking old people. But I still would want to see, like, okay, I'm not saying Saturn graphics, but I'm saying what would that Sonic 3D look like if Sega of America wasn't against Sega of Japan and they couldn't figure out the fisheye view and all this crazy stuff, What does this look like if you take from the best and you just say, hey, this concept worked for you and we put our own spin on it? Because that first Sonic the Hedgehog, the first 2 Sonic the Hedgehogs, first 3, I guess you could say, and Knuckles and all that was very similar to a Super Mario game. It had a couple twists, but, and a lot of games from that era, those platformers were very similar. Just do one like that. That Sonic Lost World for Wii U, that was similar to that, wasn't it? Didn't it have like a level-based, like where you had to work your way across the map and stuff?
I don't know, man. All I know is this, like Brent said, this one's gonna be an open world game. I figured you'd be happy about it. It's gonna be the Witcher version of the Sonic
What
game.
is
So
no,
this is all you
Witcher
wanted.
Sonic? Yes, please give me the Witcher Sonic. One sword is for monsters, one
Sonic
sword
Witcher.
is for humans.
It's like Skyrim, but with Sonic.
Oh god. You see that mountain? Sonic can climb it.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So other announcements from this
No, I'm hung up on this
stream.
open world Sonic. You cannot move on.
We don't
You will
know.
you will
We don't
be
know
hung up on
anything.
it. We don't know.
It
Yeah,
was literally a CG of him running through a forest. That was it.
that was it.
And then
That's
there
all
was
you
like
got.
rumors going around from like this was leaked from 4chan, which is the worst place to leak anything from.
Yeah.
That they were saying it was an open world game and this, and that. Take that with a grain of salt.
Then I don't believe it. I don't believe that.
Yeah, so that's what I said. We don't know. We don't know.
What if you make it? I know both you guys love Bowser's Fury. What if you make it like Bowser's Fury and Robotnik just rises up and like?
At this point, I'd rather them just do something different. It seems like they've been making this game for like the last 3 years, and it sounds like they're gonna get uncomfortable with it. So I think
with human kissing, like what is uncomfortable?
Yep. I mean, they're already calling it Sonic Super Sentai. I mean, it's already a Power Rangers ripoff. So I mean, we're already there. So.
What is Sonic even anymore? I mean, it's a big movie franchise,
This is the chance you do to make something different. So,
the best iteration of Sonic in the past 10 to 15 years has been Sonic Mania, and I cannot believe we have not gotten a follow up to that by now.
That and what Brant's going to mention shortly about the Sonic collection we're getting next year. So,
yep.
What are the platforms on that, Brant? Would you like to elaborate?
I actually don't see the platforms in this story, but I assume it's on all existing consoles. But it is Sonic Origins, which will include all of the first 3 Sonic games, 1, 2, 3, Sonic and Knuckles, and Sonic CD. And then the last thing they announced is that the Netflix series has a name, and it is Sonic Prime. So why is it not on Amazon?
There's the 3D Sonic we wanted. Yeah. It's like Metroid Prime, Sonic Prime.
Sonic Prime.
What were you saying, Brant?
Metroid Sonic game.
That kind of open world where Sonic has to get abilities to open doors.
He already morphs into a ball.
Yeah.
What if you get the origin story to tie along with the Sonic Origins? No, that's already your name on the.
So look, I'll give them credit. They've always done random bullshit with the Sonic series. Always. Like Lost, was it the Lost Worlds one or whatever the fuck they called it? That was weird.
They turned it into a werewolf.
The werewolf one was kind of like a 3D platformer. That was weird too. I mean, they try to do different things on here to catch on, and nothing's ever really have outside of Sonic Generations, which they would never make another one of. But
that one was successful too, right?
That was, because you played the levels in 2D and 3D. It's like you had the best. It was like a remix. Like you played the best levels from those type of games, and they just put it all together. So
maybe maybe they're looking at Sonic Colors Ultimate with all the DLC and see how that goes, and they might do
the total edition.
Yep, total edition.
The fucking cereal that comes with it.
Multi-generation. All right, was that all our Sonic news?
That was all of the
Sonic Mania news. And Sonic Team Racing coming to Luna. We still have no interest in Luna amongst the 3 of us?
Not really.
I barely have time to play all the shit I have, so I'm not adding another platform. So I wish I could. I just don't.
I think if they rolled it into Prime as a Prime benefit, which I already pay for, and they were like, hey, I know you can still use PS4 and Xbox controllers, but if they're like, you're going to get 2 free games to try out a month with your Prime membership, it can be something, small to try to get people to try out that ecosystem. I might give that a shot.
They literally just dropped $9 billion to buy MGM so they can control your James Bond license for video games. So
they're going to finally publish the GoldenEye remake as a Luna exclusive.
Yeah. It's good. It's the James Bond license is owned by Amazon now, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Isn't there a Sonic game? I'm hung up on the Witcher sword, the sword for monsters and the sword for humans. Because we were talking about that world. Isn't there a Sonic and the something swords? Isn't there a game where he has a sword?
The Black Knight.
The Black Knight, that's it. How was that one?
I don't know. I think I played the Arabian Nights one.
The Secret Rings.
The Sands of whatever. Secret Rings, yeah.
Sands of Time.
Sands of Secret
Yeah.
Rings.
The Wii turned into a Sonic box there for a minute. I guess that was their key audience, though.
The most important game that came out on the Wii was Kelowna. That was it.
Yeah.
That's my take. That's just my
I actually
take.
have that port too.
I'm 100% wrong, but I'm gonna die on that sword. So
On that
I don't give a fuck.
Black Knight sword.
No, that Kelowna is the best game on the Wii.
What was the launch one? What was the launch one we played? Wasn't there a Sonic game there at launch that we tried out, or did we get like Secret Rings in that launch window and try it and play it?
Rings, I think, is in that launch window.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get like a true Sonic game until Colors came out on the Wii, and that was like towards the end of the life cycle. So
we are getting the best one that was locked on the Wii, essentially.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we're at the point in this generation that we are porting over Wii games. So we already have No More Heroes. Now we're getting Sonic Colors.
We may never get Metroid Prime trilogy.
I wish we would get Last Story. I wish we would get Trauma Team. Who knows? Maybe one day.
The Wii is one of those, when you look back, there's a bunch of titles stuck on that console. So Sonic Colors is actually a pretty big one coming across there as we talk about preservation and making things available.
We're getting Skyward Sword with the right analog stick.
Right.
So, yep.
You're right. Wii Sports seems like a given on Switch. Imagine how fucking crazy that game would go. Oh, we need to do an E3 prediction show. We probably need to do that next week, right? Because this shit's we're closing in on E3.
I keep forgetting that's happening. So yeah, we could. Yeah. I keep looking. It's like it's getting closer. I'm like, I saw the Nintendo release. Their date was what, like June 15th or some shit like that.
Yeah, and it's like 45-minute presentation, I think, followed by 3 hours of Treehouse. So,
and they said it was exclusively what was coming out this year, except for maybe a couple surprises at the end for next year. My favorite thing on Twitter was when the Horizon thing, when we get to Horizon, was they were waiting to do the Horizon release date until they found out what the Breath of the Wild 2 release date was, so they can have a rematch again.
Oh God, squaring up against each other.
Like that's why they're waiting. They're waiting until Nintendo's like, all right, Breath of the Wild 2's coming out. I was like, all right, we're coming out 30 days later.
We have a glider too. Cesar, why don't you tell us about that Horizon Forbidden West state of play, which I eventually watched as you were live tweeting me about it.
I think I sent you one tweet. Just that one.
This is a good ass looking game, I think, quote is what it said.
Yeah, it was a pretty ass game.
Yeah.
I mean, it basically just kind of just showed some of the gameplay. This is all from The Verge again, from Jay Peters. It was like a 14-minute presentation from the state of play, and it just kind of just showed some of the engine is running in and some of the gameplay on there. So a lot of it was a lot of. You notice this time there's a lot more different colors in there, so you can definitely tell this was on the beach. Different machines in there. They had raptors in there, like you mentioned and you said before. I mean, there's a bit where you go underwater and you can dive.
That underwater section was gorgeous. Yeah. Oh, it was gorgeous.
Breath of the Wild, like hang glider.
Yep.
And it looks like I said, it's still, you're still gonna have that initial gameplay battle they had on there, but some of those animations where she powered up that staff and did that attack. I mean, some of that stuff would look clean, so you couldn't tell where the CG started and where the original game engine was. So it looks pretty good on PS5 for something that is also being developed on PS4. I'm curious to see what the PS4 version will look like. So,
do we want to go into those other games that are now PS4 titles as well?
We can. I mean, we saw that. Herman,
That's a
no.
later story. But
is it later today? You got it on there?
Okay.
All right, that's fine.
At least one, but. And then there was some odd internet controversy about the way Aloy looks now.
I'm reading this stuff like,
did y'all see
who has
that?
time to come up with this?
Yeah. There was one that made me laugh though. It was the four panel picture, and it was Aloy on PS4, on Xbox, and it was like a picture of the original Craig.
Oh yeah,
just like a red wig on him, and then on PS5, and then like on PC, and they just like kept bulging the face out more and more.
The Kathy Bates lookalike style one had me cracking up. Like, man, how is this? How are the hot takes? How do they turn into this from some of these games? Like,
somebody's always got to find something to hate on.
That's crazy.
It's we live in the age on the internet. I mean, there's literally I think somebody I followed on Twitter who criticized that they didn't say Horizon was a bad game. It wasn't for them, and like everybody just shit on that person immediately, and they had to delete their tweet because it's like it was nonstop hate. And I was like,
Newsflash: not everything is for everyone.
Yeah.
so I was like, if you have an opinion about something, express it. You never know. A developer might look at it and like, hey, maybe this person's right. Maybe we need to add this on there. Who knows? And it doesn't knock the rest of the game. I mean, if you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. You just say you did and just move on. So
Yeah.
people ask for death now. I don't know, man. Everything's politicized. I can't stand it sometimes. So
Just back out. Presentation looked great. The game looks amazing. I don't know who would not want to.
Yeah.
If you are a gamer, I do not know anyone who would not want to play this game. It looked beautiful.
yeah, I'm
I
excited
still
about
haven't.
it. So.
I still haven't played the original. It's one of those that like I bought the complete edition, and it like just has been sitting there, and I just every time I'm like I'm gonna play that, something else comes along.
Yeah. It's been on my back burner too, but I'm gonna try to knock that one out before the new one for sure. Did they add anything else in there? I was hoping the big thing I texted SR because I wasn't watching it live. I was like, hey, did we get a PS5 patch for the first one? Is there any upscaling or anything going on there?
Game boosted mode, what they call game boosting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't announce anything along those lines.
I think we will because I don't think this game is coming out anytime soon. So that's like they said in that future article coming up soon. So
Yep. What's that? Holiday 2021? They say.
They said they're looking good for this year, but they're making no guarantees. I think that's what Herman Helse clarified today. So it's basically his version of it is whenever it's done is when it comes out. So at this point, I don't think it matters. I mean, you only have like less than 10 million PS5s out there. So I mean, you do have a lot of PS4s. So
which leads up to another story we're gonna end up covering because it makes sense to put some of these games on PS4 in my opinion.
Yeah.
Make them scale. I think. These plans were long in advance, but I'm sure they see some of the smart delivery stuff with Xbox doing the cross-generational stuff, and it's kind of weird seeing we believe in generations, and then here's this like back and forth stuff with big first-party titles, but it don't faze me. I'd rather have more options for more people. I'm not butthurt over any purchases that were made regarding titles, so.
I think it has to do with player base a lot too, because with the production runs of PS5 being pretty limited and supplies being limited,
I'm sure they thought more would be out there, and why would you not want to sell to a what is PS4 up to now? 120?
Close, like 115, 116.
Yeah. I mean it
was like 120. It'll be almost on PS2 levels. It was at 120.
I
don't think it's going to get there because
PS2 is like 145.
You don't see any PS4s. Yeah, I don't think it's going to get up there because you don't see any PS4s anywhere anyway. So
yeah,
I did see on that note a little bit of a side note. I saw 2 Series S's in the wild. I saw 3 Series S's. They were at Walmart in the case, and I was like, "There it is." And I actually had to go back 2 days later, and they were gone. So hopefully they went to people who are going to be playing them and not flipping them. But I would love to be a story that we talk about every week is not who can find consoles, and flippers and scalpers are trying to flip consoles and stuff like that. So
that's why I'm super excited about the new Nintendo thing coming out. That's going to be fun.
The thing that everyone knows about and doesn't know about and talks about but won't talk about.
Yeah, because it's not going to be on the Direct, they said. So the rumor is tomorrow or Friday we should see something on the new hardware.
I saw
That's
the 9th.
rumor, so. Yeah, it's gonna be anytime before their Direct.
The best
it's not
news
gonna be on the Direct.
is that we won't have to fucking talk about any new Switch hardware for a while. So tired of that shit.
Yeah.
Here's the God of War news. I guess I'll take this one. New God of War title delayed to 2022. There was a PlayStation blog interview today with Herman Holst. Amongst other things, God of War started a little later than Horizon, so we made the decision to push the game out so Santa Monica Studio can deliver the amazing God of War game that we all want to play. He also said regarding the PS4 version, Hull said, where it makes sense to develop a title for both PS4 and PS5 for Horizon Forbidden West, the next God of War, Gran Turismo 7. We'll continue looking at that, and if PS4 owners want to play that game, then they can. So God of War is delayed. The original God of War, or that original God of War, is still in the games collection thingy. So hopefully more people can play that, Anything of note out of that, or is that just the news on that one?
No, I mean they are talking about making um they are making a PS4 version of this game, and it's some people are worried that making two different versions is going to hinder the development of the game or hold it back. I think everybody's a little wary once they hear that nowadays, just because of what happened with Cyberpunk, um, and all of that. But that was a completely different beast altogether.
Yeah.
Um, with stuff like Miles Morales, that game had a few little bugs when it came out. Both me and Cesar experienced some fun little glitches, but I mean, look
Love
at that
them.
game
Love when
now.
the game
They've
breaks.
they've continued to
headless Miles
add,
Morales, headless Spider-Man.
but they've continued to add more and more modes and more polish to that game. Like when I played it for that second time, once I got my PS5, they had that 60 frames a second, ray tracing, all of that stuff, added in, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
That second time I played it, and I mean, I played it, gosh, I guess a few months after it had originally came out.
Right.
So
So
it's
here's my thing, and we're going to speak for us because the internet will have
yeah.
500,000 takes. Do you guys believe, the three of us here, do you guys believe that an added version for another supported console, so just like what is the smart delivery, just like a game on PC, do you think that version of Gran Turismo 7 is going to be gimped in any way, or that version of God of War, or any of those?
No,
I don't either. So
not at all.
I'm not a game developer, so I'm not going to even try to attempt to answer that question. So
and they're scalable.
there's an assumption that there would be. I don't know.
Specifically,
I don't
and
care.
here's my
But
same, and specifically here's my thing is that it's a first party game. This isn't Ubisoft trying to get Far Cry 6 to look amazing on PS5, on Xbox One from 2013 because it's playable on there, on PC. It's not this wide breadth of platforms outside of the two that these studios are intimately knowledgeable about at this point, correct? I'm sure
Hmm.
there's games on PS4 that they still make sing. They look gorgeous, and having that extra boost of the PS5 is just going to be the extra, like having a better PC. I don't know how we're supposedly, maybe it's a console gamer thing and we've just come around to this faster, the three of us somehow, by kind of understanding how it works, but it just seems to be a non-talking point for this to be a thing. Like, what has it taken away from you, because you have a PS4 in there too. You could, if you're so hell bent on it, get the PS4 one and pop it in your PS5 and see how it plays. But it's like, why would you not want that available to everyone? Is the console fanboyism wars? Is it going into the same platform? Is that where we're getting to with this?
no,
Hmm.
from the argument people are
That's what
making
it sounds
is
like
not
to
about
me.
it's not about being graphically from what I see on Twitter, and I don't read too much on the Twitter. I just see what this is what people raise up
Right.
about is game design. Is they're under the limitations that they have to design it for two consoles, PS4 being the weaker one. So their argument, I don't know if it's true. That's what I said. I'm not a game designer. I don't develop games. I don't know how true it is, but the argument they're making is that you set on certain limitations on the game world, on what you can do in a game because you have to make for base PS4. So graphically, I don't think it matters because graphically you can upscale depending on. It's the same thing that I've made the argument you can do this on PC's been doing it for
Yeah.
years. There's different graphics cards. They show different details of graphics. Now they're talking about game design. That's all they're saying. Like I said, I'm not a game designer. I don't know how true that is. That's the argument they're making. So
Here's something I think we also acknowledge between the three of us is that we're going to get a next generation interface specifically with PS5 with these games. Is we're going to play differently by getting that haptic feedback, right?
Yeah.
Where I feel like we're going to get the next generation experience, not because it loads faster or it's shinier in areas or something like that, but because we're going to feel Aloy's bow, and we're going to be playing Gran Turismo, and we're going to feel, okay, the right tires in the dirt now instead in the grass, or we're going to know that difference. And I honestly, I feel like that's going to separate it even more than anything outside of the fast loading and stuff. That is also a big deal. But we all loved Astrobot last year. It was all on our game of the year
so
list, and that game, is probably perfectly playable on PS3, I would say. That was not a graphically demanding game in any capacity, right? Did y'all feel like that was
What?
a
Oh, really?
no?
I don't know if I don't know if graphically is the word to use it on there. My example I can use is like, can you feel that The Witcher 3 will work on PS3? Would that game work on PS3? Not graphically. Would that game work on PS3? The
Like the
world
open
design. I know it
worlds
does
and
on
stuff like
Switch.
that.
Yeah, I know it does well on Switch, but Switch is more powerful than the PS3. Would that work on a PS3? So if they're gonna sit there and like, okay, we made this game for PS3 and PS4, but we're using PS3 as our base. Their argument is like, okay, so you have all this additional power on PS4.
Yeah.
You're making your base on PS3. You feel like this is all future tense. We don't know what would happen to the game design because you're designing on the base system.
Right.
But they're saying like when you have more options in developing this world, if you made it a PS4 only game, that's the argument they're making. They're saying that these generational gaps and you forcing a game to cover 2 generations, you're possibly hindering the experience of that game. But it doesn't make sense to me because you still have a team, you still have a game director. You don't know what the vision of the game is. As I said, I don't know game design. So that, I mean, who knows what that director is going through. That I would imagine they would make the argument like, hey, what I want to make can only run on next gen hardware. I imagine they would make that argument themselves,
Right.
and make that clear to their publisher, or whatnot. And I think Sony would listen because look at Ratchet and Clank. That's a PS5 only game. They made that argument like, hey, we can only do this on PS5.
We put a
and
feature
thus
in
it's
there
only
with
PS5
the
only.
dimension warping that only is capable in this type of hardware. Yep.
Right.
So maybe they.
So people are just getting in their heads and thinking they're going to lose some type of experience that they don't know because we haven't even seen anything on God of War.
Yeah.
Not one thing. I love Cory Barlog. I love him to death because he's like, people ask him about God of War 2. He's like, I don't even know what that is. That's his response on Twitter. I don't know what that is. So,
David Jaffe did that one.
Yeah. You have no idea, what's going on with this game. I mean, you don't want to set any expectations. So people have this weird, and it's like you said, 9 times out of 10, it probably boils down to console war, saying like, oh, this is the best game you can only get on this console, blah, blah, blah. This is what it's probably going to end up boiling down to. If you follow those same people within the next couple of years who's making these arguments now, it's probably what it's going to be. I don't want to say that, but that's probably what it's going to end up being.
But I also remember as much of a leap as we can get generationally, there's certain things that do take a step back, and this may be a bad example, but I remember like going from PS2 to PS3 and Xbox to Xbox 360. There were things that people still preferred, like I can't remember if it was Gran Turismo 5 Prologue or something like that. But they were like, we can't pack as many HD tracks as we could into the 480i, 720p capable Gran Turismo 4. There were a lot of people who were still like, this one's not great. This one's not a good Gran Turismo. I still would rather fall back to Gran Turismo 4 or Gran Turismo 3 for PS2 because it has more licenses, it has more tracks, it had more unlockables. Like, I think Forza had that argument too, maybe with the first Forza and the second one, but I don't know if that's a driving game thing because, especially with shooters, like you had Call of Duty take off, you had Halo 3 take off, you had all these other titles that really took advantage of next generation, and maybe that was online capabilities, maybe that was the bigger jump along with HD, but we're just speculating, and time will tell as far as what those differences are.
Yeah. Who knows, man? It's just going to be, then you got this point where you just have people picking stuff apart. Like, if this was only on PS5, this is going to be better. It's just going to be an endless argument. But at the end of the day, it's the game director and it's their vision. Yeah. I believe the publishers, when they make their case to the, like the same thing from their Microsoft team and the same thing with the Sony team, that they went to the publishers, I believe they would listen.
Yeah.
I just think whatever vision they have on there it's just like they can make for both. It's what it is. I don't think there's a requirement saying you have to make for both hardwares. I mean, it makes business sense, but
you haven't heard this for Halo. That's Microsoft's big first party title. Why hasn't that been out there? Is it because it's been so long that we've known that title is for all the Xboxes?
We don't know what the Halo's going to play like, the new one, Halo Infinite. So I mean, that I
probably
promise
shoot some aliens.
We're probably going to hear a lot of bullshit about, hey, if they made this for Series X, it would have been this much better of a game. We're going to hear some of that. I mean, I know we are. If they had to put base Xbox in there,
Yeah.
This world would have been bigger. They would have had more of this. They would have had more of that. And it's just people assuming stuff. So
I'm
you just got
I'm gonna be the counter argument because I love to see these titles go backwards like that. I love knowing that I have so many friends that still just have PS4s. Like, yes, you enjoyed Horizon. You do not have to get this new hardware. You can play that new Horizon or Gran Turismo. They supported Gran Turismo Sport for so long. It's almost like a reward to those fans. Like, you made it. Here's the next one. You don't have to upgrade to this console that you still can't just go into a store and buy or pop on Amazon. You have to be following a thread or enter a lottery or that barrier to entry just to get to those titles. For them to take down that barrier, I'm all for that.
no. I mean, there's nothing with you being on the wrong side of it. Everybody agrees with you. I mean, it doesn't make sense not to put it on those consoles. There's 115 million people out there that can still play. Maybe there's only a percentage of them that has it, maybe half of them, but that's still half more than the PS5 owners right now. So
Don't sacrifice those sales. Put it out there for those people too.
It makes business sense, and you see that Sony with Ratchet and Clank are willing to make something that's exclusive to a console. So
Yep.
Somebody might argue like, well, God of War is too big for them to do that. I don't know. They probably looked at God of War on PS5 and like, hey, can this run on PS4? And they're like, yeah. I mean, there's nothing on here that will require only to run on PS5, and they're like, okay, so let's put it on there.
You have scalable engines now, right? It's not like the 8-bit and 16-bit days where you had these gaps of co-processors and you don't have these physical barriers that you had before. Outside of Ratchet and Clank is going to use a physical barrier to its advantage. That's why it's on this platform. Its whole gimmick is wrapped around being able to do this quick loading and jumping in and out of those dimensions. It's literally called a rift apart. You're going to be making these rift jumps and such.
The medium was supposed to be that for Xbox.
Yeah. But I don't think they really proved that wasn't capable on something else.
Yeah, even Cesar, after he played it, he's like, I think it really could have been played on the Series X. Yeah. So
you had Halo Anniversary on 360 with half a gig of RAM running that 2-engine thing side by side where you could switch in between the worlds.
Like I said, I'm not a game developer, so I don't know.
So
maybe their vision was
that too.
That was a small team. Team Bloober's a small team. Maybe they didn't have the people to make it on everything. Yep. So I don't know.
Always keep that in mind when you hear our discussions. We're just three guys who enjoy playing games on everything, so we're not going to have a very specific take on a lot of stuff. It's going to be trying to think about how more people can play more games. Where are we going to be playing Crysis Remastered Trilogy, Brant?
Oh, on your PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
What? No PS5 version or Xbox Series version?
Backwards.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's gonna be backwards compatible, and plus you.
I don't want to play that game designed for those last gen consoles on my new gen console.
I would assume that if this trilogy sells well, that they'll have some patches or something go through.
Like a native port update.
The first game has those patches for the Series X and PS5. You can do 60 frames 4K. They did an after patch after that, so
yeah.
You think they were kind of feeling it out with that first one and making sure that this is something people wanted?
Yeah.
This was the first one was ported by Saber Interactive. Crytek's not what it used to be, so they don't have the money flow they used to. So they had to like outsource. They didn't even do it internally themselves, and they've always been known to push the boundary of the hardware they put on there. So
I remember that being a thing. Can it run Crysis?
And I think they've announced the remaster will include Crysis 2, Crysis 3. The original Crysis is already available, as we were just talking about. But I think they should go ahead and... I think eventually they will go ahead and put some next-gen patches in there. Either up the frame rate...
You talking about native? I mean, there's already patches on there for next gen.
So oh yeah,
there's already patches on PS5, only on PS5. So
yeah, do it native. Throw some ray tracing or something else in there.
You talking about smart delivery and game boosting? That's what you're talking about. Because I think right now they have patches that take advantage of the new hardware where it hits 60 frames or higher. So it's just not native PS5. So it's just boosted, gets game boosted PS5 and.
But also, they are offering these individually, so you don't necessarily have to. If you've already bought the original Crisis remaster, you're not going to have to, buy this new thing and basically double dip. They will offer each individual game remaster on its own.
I had a co-worker who used to hate Crisis 2 with a passion. He said he'd never want to save New York. He would rather destroy New York. So
Wow, that's drastic.
Hey, he was from New York, so for whatever reason, I think something personal happened there, and he hated New York City, and he never went back. He's still over here in Atlanta. So,
And other than that, I mean, they do say that it's, I guess, due out this fall. We haven't gotten any hard release date or anything on that.
Wonder if you'll get a discount if you already own the first one on something.
they didn't clarify other than like Brant said, you can buy the trilogy or buy them separately since the first one was out. So,
No.
But no clarification on any discounts on if you already have one or if there's no indication of a physical version coming out. None of that's been addressed.
They had that thing running on Switch, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
It's a game that plays on Switch.
It's playable on Switch. I've never played a Crisis game. I've played 0 minutes of a Crisis game.
I played Crisis 2 and I got halfway through it. Crisis 1 is like your version of Red Dawn, maybe. So where you're fighting North Korea on an island.
Okay.
Instead of Red Dawn where the Russians landed in Alaska.
Right.
So it's that kind of thing. The second one is like you're trying to liberate a destroyed New York, and the third one was, I don't remember what the third one was. I think that's where I fell off at. I don't remember. So I mean, other than you got these super cybernetic type suits that gives you like adrenaline boost, and I mean
that's the gimmick, right?
Fun,
the suit.
It's that fun gameplay. That's a first person shooter. That's what made it different. So you go through, and it's not like the whole. It has that 80s vibe where you're gunning down everybody and body counts are coming up there, but then it has that feel was different because you have that nano suit which gives you boosted abilities, and you kind of fight for those boosted abilities because it's satisfying for some people to do that. I can't say for certain because I don't remember anything worthwhile for me to go like, oh, you know what, I feel like playing Crisis. I never did that ever before in my life. I never waking up at 2 a.m. It's like I should be playing Crisis right now, and I shouldn't be sleeping.
Will this run Crisis?
So, it's not like when I wake up, I'm like, I want to play Dragon Quest 7, and I play that for about 10 minutes. Like, yeah, there's a reason why I don't play this anymore. And then I just close the yes and then go back to bed. So I'm like, nothing against Dragon Quest 7. I tried so many times getting Dragon Quest 7. I put 30 hours into it. I could just never get into it.
Press A to go back to bed.
Close DS to go back to bed.
That too. All right, look forward to that Crisis trilogy this fall. Some Game Pass games coming soon to Game Pass. You have Backbone. That's interesting looking. I've never seen that before. The Wild at Heart, For Honor, and Darkest Dungeon. I know Darkest Dungeon's a big hit. Backbone. Raccoon Detective Howard Lotor is not a hero. He can barely make rent, and yet he has stumbled across something so massive that it will shake the very fabric of society. Stunning visuals, an evocative soundtrack, and a daring narrative bring a dystopian Vancouver, BC, inhabited by animals to life in this highly anticipated post-noir adventure. Get to it, detective. Did we see this in one of their directs or whatever? Was this one of their featured games?
I think so.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I need to see gameplay.
It sounds very familiar.
Yeah, because this is from the Xbox Wire. Almost said Xbox Block. I guess it's the same thing.
Pretty much.
Yep. For Honor is coming to cloud and console. The Wild at Heart is available today. That is an indie on cloud. And Backbone is a PC game, huh? I don't think I would have picked that out. Got a bunch of updates for your online stuff, your service ones, Apex, Knockout City, Human Fall Flat, Gears 5, Minecraft Dungeons.
Yeah, that was something else. Was this week they did talk about Knockout City, that's the dodgeball, like extreme 3v3 dodgeball title.
Yep.
And they did say that it is technically free to play up to level 25.
Comes with a free version of Heavensward expansion.
Yes.
Up to level 60.
Yep.
Leaving Game Pass.
You got the reference.
Leaving Game Pass June 15th is Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown, Nightcall, West of Dead, Wizard of Legend, and Observation. They are still running the 3 months for $1 Game Pass thing for Ultimate. Highly recommend that if you have not already. Speaking of which, I'm going to derail for a second, but a friend of mine just got a PS5, right? He was able to get one at Target with store pickup. And he skipped the whole PS4 generation. I actually was working on I fixed his PS3 so he could play Last of Us. And he was totally unaware of the PlayStation Plus Instant Collection thing. Is that not something they're advertising straight up? Is that not in the box? Is that not a pamphlet of some kind?
Not really.
Richard, that is step 2. Step 1 is getting a PS5.
Okay, so he did that.
We don't hear those we don't hear those victory stories.
So here's the thing.
That all.
His first 2 games he bought were Uncharted 4 and God of War. He bought physical copies, which he got the disc one. I mean, I get that, but I'm like, as he's telling me this, I'm like, those are included in the PlayStation Plus thing. And his concept of PlayStation Plus is that it's free. Well, I'm like, nope, you got to pay for it now. You got to jump ahead from 2013, man. You got to start paying for it now. So his concept is that he never played online, obviously. He's missed all those Call of Duties and PUBGs and everything else of the last generation, but
nothing of value was lost.
Arguably.
On the Call of Duties. I'm arguing on the Call of Duties. When you threw in PUBG is a different story.
Yes, PUBG is a different story. PUBG was genre or generationally defining.
I'm arguing on the Call of Duties. When as I was saying that, you threw out PUBG and it derailed the whole conversation. You fucked it up.
That's true. But the cool thing is, and I'll finish on that note because I'm not going to go far into it. First off, Sony should be pushing that instant game collection that's a great catch up for anybody. And he wouldn't have had to buy. I think they were $10 when he got them, so it's not anything. And he likes having physical copies. Because he played Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 on PS3, and he's like, all right, I can just jump straight into this one. And then God of War. He had beaten the first 3 God of Wars across PS3. So it's been a while, so I was kind of reminding him, like Cesar said, because I told him I didn't beat 3 and start the new one because I kind of want to know how that ends because they do reference the old gods from the original trilogy. So
a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not necessary, but it's an extra like ooh when they show all the stuff on there, like that's cool.
It's a coworker. Brant will have to talk about this after the show. It's a coworker that you would probably not expect to be a gamer, so it was an interesting conversation. But I always enjoy talking to this person about
Okay.
They were the first one to tell me about the NES multi-carts. They bought one of those like 501 NES multi-carts and just ended up playing Kirby's Dream Land or Kirby's Adventure. That's the NES one. All right, those are your Game Pass games. Does somebody want to take this PlayStation Now list? It's actually a pretty fucking good list.
Yeah.
Crisis is not one of them.
Well done, Cesar. Neither is Halo Master Chief Collection.
Let's name stuff that's not added on PlayStation Now. I was going to say Witcher 3, but that was added.
Yeah.
So,
specifically Game of the Year
Here
edition.
we go. PlayStation Now will add The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This is offering Jimansu Sal Romano, Game of the Year Edition, Virtua Fighter Ultimate Showdown, and then several Sonic the Hedgehog games as part of their June lineup. Which is what? Sonic Forces, which we got on PlayStation Plus at some point. Sonic Mania, which we also got on PlayStation Plus at some point, which is a good one. Team Sonic Racing, and then the other loose outlier would be Slay the Spire, which is a card-based RPG type style.
I heard good things about that one. It's just not my kind of game, I don't think.
Everybody goes to the Shadow Realm, which is in reality in the Yu-Gi-Oh world, you just die. So
yeah.
Every time they say somebody goes in the Shadow Realm, that person just died. It's edited for America. They couldn't handle it.
Specifically in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yes. It's referenced a lot.
Yes.
Or like, Oblivion, the Oblivion Gates. Is that like the Shadow Realm?
We can go with that, yep.
Do you still play Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the Shadow Realm?
No, you're dead.
Oh. You can't play cards when you're dead?
No. Unless you let me know.
Why am I reporting back to you, sir? Would you like to tell me something?
I don't know. I didn't ever ask the question. You asked me the question. I was like, hey, you know what? You're right. Just let me know.
Fine. I'll go do it.
Yeah.
I'll let you know tomorrow.
For science.
You're supposed to be like, I'll let you know in like 40 years is what you're supposed to say. I'm like, I guess I'll wait 40 years.
40 years? What the fuck? Oh my god. I feel like I'll still be working in 40 years.
I gave you 40 years, man. You fucking gave yourself 24 hours.
You asked for less than 24 hours.
You brought it up.
It's like a Persona game up in this bitch. We have to find out if there's personas and cards on the other side.
Like daring each other to find out what happens. I'm like, I'm just rolling with it right now at this point. I'm like, whatever happens, happens. I play the deck I'm dealt.
Oh, anything else in there? Sonic Mania, Sonic Forces, Team Sonic Racing. I didn't play that one. That's the newest one, right?
Yeah, it's bare bones, and that's why nobody talks about it. It's not that great. They never came out with DLC for it. They just kind of put it out there and let it die. It just never sold well.
So Crash Team Racing was more highly regarded than Team Sonic Racing?
I think they did more for Crash Team Racing than they did for Sonic Racing, and that's sad. So
we still have those two really good ones. The one with like the Panzer Dragoon tracks and all that. We still have those.
The Transformed and All Stars.
All Stars, yeah.
Those are out there.
One of the ones on there, or am I thinking wrong here?
361 on the All Stars. It was.
That's right.
You also had Shenmue with the forklift. So.
That's right. Ryu's like driving the forklift. That's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Sega All Stars. Could just get another Sonic. In the year of Sonic for Sonic Origins, we could have gotten Sonic Team, or was it R Racing? Sonic Racing R, the Saturn one where they just run.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they're doing with the Sonic 3 music. I'm like,
oh my god,
we haven't got Sonic 3 in years because of the music licensing. I was like, they never addressed that the original music is gonna be in that game.
Is it the Michael Jackson thing? What is the whole drama behind that? He might have helped or what? There's no.
He developed the music. He helped develop the music for Sonic 3.
Okay.
And he's helped a little bit for 2 and 1.
Okay, that's a fact. He's credited.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so his estate has not turned over that.
The problem is, until unfortunate demise of Michael Jackson, who owns the estate now, does not have the approval for them to use that music. That's why we never had a digital version of Sonic 3 come out recently.
Sonic 3 and I was in a Pizza Hut when I found out he died.
I was at work.
This checks out. My Pizza Hut was probably not far from your work. Where is it going with this? Why is this has come up with gaming before? Why do we get these like stripped down versions, or now you have to update GTA 4 because we've lost the licenses for that? But I can watch Forrest Gump on Blu-ray. I can watch Forrest Gump on Laserdisc. I can watch Forrest Gump on VHS. That was a nightmare for music licensing. It had to be because it spread so many genres and so many decades. Like, why are we stuck in our medium? First off, it's hard to get something to play. You know, you can get a DVD for Forrest Gump now. You'll probably be able to get it in 10 years, right? Easily. Probably new. Cesar left us, and the screen just freaked out.
He dropped.
Or he opened up a link. And you could have gotten it 10 years ago, right? And it has that same content. How is games dropping the ball? How do we lose that battle every time with this music licensing and stuff? That should not be a thing. That is a cornerstone title in Sega's history, in their platform's history, in gaming history. And sorry, you dropped again. We have all these people who are wanting to play this game. How does it come down to music licensing? How is that not shored up to start with?
I know I dropped again. For whatever reason, it's trying to update my USB drivers for whatever reason. Just a second now, so everything's gone.
God bless Windows.
Yep.
No, you're good. We see you fine and we hear you fine. So let's just roll with what you got.
Yeah, I can't see anything. So that's whatever happened killed everything for me.
You're good.
It is what it is.
You're good. Keep talking.
No, I mean it's different for.
It's aggravating, right? I'm not saying we have to have an answer here on this show. It's just aggravating. Like, why is this a thing? Yeah. We suffer through this with our medium, and these things that from years past are still like consumable and playable and approachable, and we don't. We have to hope for a remaster, or we have to hope for source code to be found, or we have to pray that somebody comes around on music licensing or some crazy thing.
So from what it's not a secret. I watch a lot of VTubers, and from what I've seen on there, they whenever they do karaoke, they do a lot of Japanese-based songs. The reason why they can't do English-based ones or American-based ones is because they said somebody had talked about it. They said their management has to reach out to whoever represents that person who owns the music,
right?
And they said 9 times out of 10 they don't respond, or 9 times out of 10 they want exorbitant amounts of money, just for something to be broadcasted on YouTube. So just there's a lot of red tape when it comes to
We can't
music
be
and
held up.
licensing.
We
There's a
can't be
lot of
held.
hurdles.
We can't be
across
held to
it.
ransom like that. It's not. That can't be a thing going forward. I don't know how we rectify that long term, or how we retroactively pull these
You,
pieces forward. But it sucks.
you don't until the copyright ages and it just becomes public domain. At that
Yeah.
point, there's nothing you can do. So, and then on top of that, people fight against that. So, I mean, I think they try to remedy that by saying, they try to decrease the time limit for something to become public domain. That's somebody was trying to get down to 25 years, and look, we're already at like the 35th anniversary of certain things in video
Yeah.
games. So, I mean, would you imagine Mario becoming public domain? I mean, you got people fighting against that. So,
Mario becoming public domain. That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Is it worth it if we start getting Mario on everything, or would that just decrease the quality? Is it like a quality control thing?
Yeah, I mean, at that
Yeah.
point, anybody can make any game they want and just throw Mario on there. So, if it became, I mean, you literally, they can make the most hateful things and just put Mario in there, and they probably be
Yeah.
okay with it.
I've seen
There's
some of
nothing
those.
that
I've seen some
anybody
of
can do
those
with
online.
it. So,
Mario in compromising positions.
Oh,
I'm thinking
Mario
worse.
with Lady Demetrius.
I've seen
I'm
a
not thinking
lot
those
of
stuff. I'm
those.
thinking good stuff.
I've
So.
seen some well done ones. They brought me around. I'm on this podcast as a record, like, not kink shaming, but whatever floats your boat. But I've seen some good representations of that.
It's we already had a discussion about Rule 34.
Yeah,
It's already
yeah.
happened. It's already happened with the Samsung girls. And if you put
Oh,
Samsung girl on
Oh
Twitter, go
no,
Samsung girl Rule
not the
34.
Samsung girls. They're so wholesome.
That's the first thing you put in Samsung girl on Google. It's somebody at the end of it says Rule 34. It's like it's automatically trying to predict what I'm going to say. I'm like, I was trying to figure out what the hell that was. I was like, everybody was talking about Samsung girl. I was like, let me put it in Google and find out what that is. And then it's like, as soon as I put the Samsung girl in there, it's like Rule 34. I'm like, what the
Just
fuck?
for background,
I
this was a canceled Samsung Galaxy model / like a VTuber or a AI or something, right? That was going to be
Yeah.
like a cartoon or animated caricature for like the mascot of the Samsung Galaxy ecosystem. And she's an attractive model, so I could see that being a failed direction that they could have gone in.
Yeah.
And it's already there. You guys taught me the Rule 34. I wasn't even aware of this. I was innocent and squeaky clean until Brant and his hedonistic ways opened my eyes to the internet's laws.
I have the book. Don't worry, man. I have the book for Burn the Witch, man. We'll cleanse our souls. So.
That's it. Stay
Yep,
tuned
that's all
after
you
the
need.
show for Cesar to save us all.
Burn the Witch.
Uh-oh.
Something crazy just happened up there.
Hey, man. You were the blasphemous one. I wasn't. So.
Hey, it's me. I'll take it on. We're an hour in. Oh dear God. Yeah, we're an hour and 3 minutes in. Let's go. Hour 45.
I'm excited about going 40 minutes into my games played today. 40 minutes in detail.
Oh dear
Let's
God,
go.
no. And the Brant gets 8 minutes.
Richard's in there. I played Halo.
I played some Halo. Played some Sea of Thieves.
I beat Mass Effect.
I did beat Mass Effect. First, I want to talk about Just Dance. I'm going to do a Just Dance update, and then I'm going to talk about one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life, Mass Effect.
It wasn't Just Dance 2018.
This was 2014, and it has Prince Ali from Aladdin, where all 4 of the characters have different roles, and they are like stuffed versions of, like it's like the. Okay, so last week I talked about Just Dance 4, I think is the one I had. So I found Just Dance 2014 for my kids. And this has all sorts of licensed tracks. I won't go down them. I'll tell you their 2 favorites, but you can go down there. You can go down the list of tracks online. But Prince Ali from Aladdin was on there. And each character, so you have Aladdin, you have Jafar, you have Princess Jasmine, and you have the genie. And when it starts off, they look like Party City costume versions of all of these, right? So when you look at them, it's the Aladdin from the Party City costume, essentially. It's the street rap version, specifically, I'm going to point out. And the genie's like floating in. You see this genie with like this weird mascot face. And then as the dancing starts, his like, you know how he comes out of the bottle and he's got the wisp of smoke or whatever, that how he comes out of it.
Mhm.
I'm freaking doing the Christina Aguilera thing on here. Why am I
Yeah,
doing that?
Genie in the bottle.
I'm
Well,
trying to
then that's what I
describe.
got
Yeah, no, she did it.
straight to when I was in high school preparing for graduation. It just brought me
Holy
back. I'm there
shit!
now.
Why did we
Yeah.
Oh
go there?
no.
But as the
And
just
next, I'm waiting for you to do what a girl wants,
it's
what a
not
girl
gonna
needs,
happen. It's not
and
gonna happen. Oh dear God, why did that derail so bad? I don't even know what I was talking about. So as Just Dance kicks in, the genie like grows legs, so you see these legs just shoot off, and it's these dancers and they're going through all this stuff. But the cool thing about this one, the Just Dance 2014, is that each one seems to have its own role. So the genie would do certain things, like Jafar would go after the genie. Like halfway through the song, the genie does a movement that if you're playing that character, it'll turn the Street Rat Ali into the Prince Ali with like the white outfit and all that kind of stuff. So it had like it was a skit that told this story throughout the song. And my kids are just dancing and jumping around, and they'll do this for hours on end. And I'm like I'm doing the doing the Leonardo DiCaprio thing. I'm like look, I saw what they just did. I saw it. Look. And the other favorite of theirs is I think it's Ray Parker did the original, but it's the Ghostbusters theme song. So there's three Ghostbusters, and there's the Slimer is the fourth character. And my youngest child, who is interesting, she's eccentric. She picks the Slimer. That's her go-to. She's gonna pick that one. And the Slimer just like attacks them. The Ghostbusters start off the thing. They do this dance like side to side, almost like this Thriller thing where they're shooting their energy guns in the air, and it has a whole nother level of animation and production value over the Just Dance 4 that we were playing. And the Slimer like goes and attacks, like dances behind each one of the Ghostbusters, and they end up doing like you see them covered in slime, and they're just doing this, like they're hung up in something, and the Slimer goes from one to the next and like knocks out the different dancers, and it's this whole skit, and it's so much fun to watch. And just like the one I was talking about last week, it does a recap video at the end where it overlays these graphics and puts music to like some of the highlights of the dance and things like that. And that's honestly part of it. They like jumping around and moving and doing all that stuff. And then when they show those snippets at the end, we're all in tears, crying, laughing at the crazy stuff that they do. They still love living La Vida Loco on the last one. You're supposed to like dance in place at one point and like go 4 or 5 steps this way and then like 4 or 5 steps this way, and they just haul ass like all the way to the other end of the room, and then here they come like a stampede all the way back down the other end of the room. Just Dance is honestly game of the year material. We're loving it so much, and they come out with these every year, and I never really put together. Like we always laughed at the stupid Ubisoft production at E3 where they have like a panda bear costume and all this kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah,
But
because it was borderline that weird Sonic show where they play music. So that's the reason why.
and
So
we got some good stuff from that Sonic show that was fucking weird. But yeah, and it seems I get the marketing side of it, but it doesn't click with how just entertaining it is when you have kids and you pop it in at home and you just let them go to town. And there's so many of those we're using the 360, the that old Xbox. I guess it's 2 generations back at this point. And that first Kinect camera, which is still a really good, like they can go through all the menus with just the waving and like acknowledging next and affirm and all that kind of stuff. So Just Dance continues to be awesome. I rolled credits on a video game. I beat the first Mass Effect, which listeners of the show will know does not happen often with me.
if we actually had a production team, we could have rolled back on the 160 something episodes and try to find one where you roll credits on something. No offense, sir.
I've beat some games. I've beat some games. That might be the first game I beat this year. It does not happen often.
Since
Yeah.
episode 130. That's my guess.
What was the last game I beat before this one? Now you got me wondering.
Astro's Playroom.
There you go.
What was that? November, December? I beat it.
November,
Yeah,
probably.
that is the first game this year. Damn, that was a good fucking game too.
Technically,
Anyways.
it was last year.
So I beat Mass Effect. I talked last week about the lore dump that I was getting, and then I had no clue it was going to go off the rails and just be even more story heavy at the very end. I will put the end of this first Mass Effect game, the pacing of the end of this game, up against any experience in any medium. it was so perfect the way they had the story tie up. You went to an area. I had a glitch. I'll go over that. You went to an area. You got lore that sent you to another area where you got another huge story dump, and it just spilled you straight into the finale. And the conclusion and everything was just so perfect. That is a 10 out of 10 game. Mass Effect, that first Mass Effect game is probably in my top 10 games of all time at this point. I loved it so much. Every minute of it, every interaction with characters. Um, I didn't feel like I was playing the game wrong. That's been one of my things. Like, you're not doing it right. Cesar gave me that charm tip early on, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't gotten through to this point. But I literally talked part of the final boss into not fighting me and taking himself out because I had dumped all his charm in. And it's my story. There's certain things that are going to play out a certain way, but the way that I built this story, like, this is my Mass Effect. And I haven't gotten around to the second one. I downloaded it because you can, with the trilogy, you can load each one individually, so you don't have to do this huge, like, crazy dump of the ROM or whatever, off the disk, that kind of thing, in the patches and stuff. But you can install them separately. But that the way that game flows at the end, where you're on Ilos, and then where do you
Would
go
you
from?
say it even flows?
Even flows. Yes, it even flows. That vinyl was on sale today. Why is this the second reference today? I hate that. I hate when the stuff like that happens. It's like, did you know the vinyl was on sale on Amazon, and then it's not really a great pressing of the vinyl, so probably don't get that one. So
No, absolutely not. I just whenever I hear people talk, I always hear music and everything everybody says. That's my caveat in my life, unfortunately. So
these main storylines of the first Mass Effect, there's 3 missions essentially that you have to do that send you to this other place, and then that mission opens up a huge story bit that I had no clue was coming, that links something earlier in the game that you assumed it was just a general place. It was just a normal type place, but then it suddenly has this super dark history. And then, I don't think it's any spoilers, at the very end of the game, you're almost doing a moonwalk up the side of a certain story area, and I was just in awe. Like, they're still introducing new, the moonwalk up the side of the building wasn't a new mechanic, as far as, okay, I'm still moving up to cover areas and I'm shooting enemies from there. But just the way that, you could see the things above you and how it played out, and your crew was behind you. I picked my favorite crew for this last mission, it seemed, and it wrapped up so perfectly. And I still had a couple choices at the end. And I haven't been able to jump into the second one because the end of that first one hit me emotionally. The stuff that was going on. The baddie that you fight at the very end, I had already felt for him. There were some things, Cesar talked last week about the indoctrination, and there were some things that I could tell he was not in control of. And because of that charm ability that Cesar had told me to dump those points into, I got some light from there. It was almost akin to the Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader fight at the end of Return of Jedi, where he's like, I know there's good in you, and that kind of stuff. And you see that glimpse, right? So you connect with that character, which I have always felt something's not right here. Why is he bad? And I think this goes back to a lot of great stories, as far as a lot of the times the bad guy thinks he's justified. He's not out to be the bad guy. There's something else going on, and that indoctrination from the machines is way deeper than you initially thought it was. But the mission before that, Ilos, you're going past all these, like, blank areas above you. You're in this area, but you get so much lore at the end of that, and it adds so much to the atmosphere, and it ramps up in the perfect way. It's immaculate sci-fi, in my opinion. It's up there with Star Warses and Star Treks and Alien, and it gives you that perfect atmosphere and that great sci-fi experience. And it was awesome. That was one of the best games I've ever played in my life. It's way up there. Highly, highly, highly recommend the first Mass Effect. I can't speak highly enough of it. I will be in December when we have this discussion all together. I'll be bringing up Mass Effect Uno, yep. And Cesar himself, Brant has said on this podcast, it only gets better from there. and I loved every minute of that game. I couldn't stop thinking about it. There was a couple decisions that, I'm not going to say I played it wrong. I don't feel like I did that. There were some things I didn't do, but it almost, I got a mission and then I ended up completing another part of the mission that kind of nixed this person's interest, basically. So I didn't play out that storyline, but that just won't be my storyline. I didn't get that part. And the great thing about gaming now, this generation, is I can look it up on YouTube. I can see where that goes, or I can find out, kind of what happens to that character. But I'm very happy with the way my stuff went through. I killed the racist bitch. That's all I was really after. She had to die.
Yeah,
she fucking died.
I saw on Twitter. I saw on Twitter somebody had posted that person was in their team in the third game, and people on Twitter were telling them that person was playing the game wrong.
I would accept that. That's my thing. I don't want to play a game wrong. If you have the racist bitch past the first game, past halfway through the first game, you're playing the game wrong. Because I won't say she needed to die, but there was a mission where I had to decide.
Oh, you're about to get your eyes open on the rest of your team when you start doing certain missions in the second game. So
great.
She was not the only one in that category. So
these are such well written, and it's not even characters. Like, the characters are incredible, right? They all have their own bit of backstory, but they come from such weight of. We have so many stories where, like, America is great, okay, or the Earth is great, or humans are great, and we get this. The way this one is intertwined is that we're the newcomers in the galaxy. We have to prove ourselves. We're not as established, and this, that, and the other. And just the way that is blended into this narrative, and they come at it from angles of, our race has been exterminated by this one. Is it up to me to decide who makes it? Is that my responsibility? There are people who believe the humans are better than everybody else. It's like, we just got here. What are we proving? And we stumbled on technology that I find out at the end of the game we thought was built off this certain generation of alien creatures, and it's not. So it's just incredible sci-fi. That's one of the best stories ever told, in my opinion, in any medium. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, the sad thing is it's believable for us. I mean, you would believe human beings would have that mindset. So
yeah, and everyone feels that way about the humans.
Yeah.
Like, they all have that sort of general. You just kind of busted up in here and you assumed this for yourself, and like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park.
I belong on this council.
Yeah. You didn't think if you should. You just thought if you could. Oh, that was a good decision at the end, trying to decide which one of those humans ends up on the council.
Mm-hmm.
Also, fuck that one dude. I did not pick him. I ain't that fucking dude. So we'll see what.
Don't worry. Both those gentlemen will be in all three games, no matter what you can do. So
fuck him. I'm like, I text Cesar this when I was wrapping the game up. I was like, man, the council gets in my way at every possible moment. Like, there's no way to prove to them or have them be on my side. But isn't that all politics or any sort of governing body?
I mean, they're in the middle. It's like, we don't believe you, but we believe that you believe, type of thing. So
I gave you all the evidence you needed. You fucking didn't listen to me, and now we're in this situation. It is. There were some moments where the writing, it was off-putting for the way my character was going, and I realized they did not write this game for me specifically. They left me decisions. They wrote scripts based off the decisions that I could or couldn't make. But there were still some offsetting things, like, they believed in Shepard from the very beginning. They put their full trust in him as that human being, and I had never earned that. And Anderson had that full faith, which is it's in the backstory, it's in the lore. But overall, man, highly rated. If I never play 2 and 3, if I never boot those up and finish them, that alone was worth that experience. I loved that game, start to finish. But I'm tired of raving about Mass Effect. Someone else can pick up the mantle.
Mine's simple. I've already said what I need to say about Mass Effect 3. I beat it this week. I think it took me about 40 hours. This is probably I think when I played it on PS3, I just kind of went through the main story and just got it over with. This one I actually went through and did everything. So I did all the side missions, and there's a lot of good story beats on. There's a lot of characters that I like from the second game, because second game is my favorite one, and a lot of bad stuff happens to those people in the third game, and it sucked. So
I'm dreading that because I'm attached to so many of those characters.
yeah, in the third game there you did not have that choice for those characters. It's just how the story played out. So it is what it is. So yeah, I mean outside of that, I mean when I went through the ending, nothing really had changed from the original one. I don't think I ever played the extended version before, where they made some necessary changes to the ending to better validate the decisions you made. I was never in the driver's seat of completely upset about the game. I didn't care. So I mean, I didn't feel like I was getting robbed of anything. Some people did, but I don't know. You know, people were weird. People feel like they got robbed of Star Wars Episode 7. So who knows?
A conclusion's a conclusion, right? The writers are only providing the framework, and you have a limited impact on that framework, and the cookie just crumbles where it crumbles, right?
Some people enjoy mediums and they believe it's theirs, and if they're not satisfied, then it's the end of the world. It's the whole Last of Us Part 2 again. So I'm like, it is what it is.
Okay, so these people never played Choose Your Own Adventure books, where you think you got this great decision and you move to it, and then as soon as you open like page 59, you see the end at the bottom. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What did I do?
Man, it's just generational stuff. It is what it is, man. I mean, you know, and you don't have to agree with everything you play. But it's neither here and there. I'm not going to digress into it. Outside of that, I fucked around and played some Silent Hill 4 on the PC.
Oh, that's random as shit. I love it.
Yeah, I bought it it's on GOG for like $10.
Nice.
I tried to do an Xbox 360 controller on there because I was like, all right, let me see if this works, and then the fucking right analog stick does not work. So I couldn't look. I can only move forward and back, but I can't look around.
Oh, that's all you need.
I was like,
that's all you need for Silent Hill.
So I was like, fuck. And I went back into reading the game thing. It's like, not all game controllers will work with this game. I'm like, I should have read that. So now I'm on 100% on WASD and mouse now playing that game. So
they converted you. They force converted you.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work on 360 USB controller, it's not going to go
well. That's what I used. It was 360 controller.
Right,
so
that should have worked. That's like the de facto PC controller.
I plugged up the OG Xbox controller that they re-released recently and with the USB, and it still did not work. So even though that game was an Xbox game,
the Hyperkin Duke.
I probably got like 2 hours into it. I've never played Silent Hill 4 before.
What's it like?
Kind of. I mean, you are waking in this room in a hotel building where you can see the world moving around you. It looks like New York City. You're getting this picture that this guy in this hotel room, he can't leave. His door is chained up, locked up. He doesn't have the key to the door. It's like chains going across it. He's been trapped in there for several days. And every night he goes to bed, he has these nightmares, and basically it looks like Silent Hill with people coming out the walls and trying to get him. And then I'm just literally just walking around the room, and it's called Silent Hill 4: The Room. So I'm stuck in this room, not the Tommy Wiseau movie. I'm stuck around in this room, just looking outside at what it looks like this New York City where people are moving around. And I can't communicate with them. I can see other people inside other apartment buildings, but they can't hear or see me. So I'm just walking around trying to figure out a way to get out of this room. I think I was like 2 hours into it, and I was like, this is enough for now.
You were in one room for 2 hours? Was things shifting
his
around?
Apartment. It's in his apartment building. Yeah, it's just a regular apartment building. I don't know the story enough to go into it. I do look at some photos on the wall, and he does make some references that he took that photo in a town called Silent Hill. That's the only Silent Hill reference I got so far. But it looks like he lives in New York City. He's just locked in the room. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't gotten that far in the story to know what goes on. Outside of that, I'm just locked in the first-person perspective at the moment as I explore the apartment. I'm just walking around in first person. I don't see it's not third person yet.
I didn't know there was a first-person Silent Hill.
Yeah, that's why it's a pain in the ass when I was trying to use the right analog stick to look around, because I can't look up and down. I can only go forward and back. Yeah. So I couldn't look at shit to interact with it. So that's it. I'm just walking around, having done anything in the game. I'm just like, all right, I'm just taking my time with it and trying to enjoy it. And I was like,
room, it checks out.
I was like, shit. I was like, I played Mass Effect 3, but I can't go deep dive in that fucker. So I was like, let me play Silent Hill 4. And then I probably put like 4 hours into Wonder Boy, Asha, and Monster World, which is that remake of the Monster World 4.
Okay.
So.
Oh, Brant played it too, apparently.
Yeah.
Just started it.
Yeah, I bought Bought on PS4, bought on Switch. The biggest difference I can notice is that it's way smoother on PS4, like 9 day. Outside of that, they both pretty much played the same outside of trophies. I think I've gone through. I started the game out where she's at the town. She speaks to her father. She wants to get the title of warrior. So you go through and you go in the house. You get the orb, and they send you along the way to this tower. So this tower is like a test. As you go through the tower, it's like these little small puzzles as you go in there. You got to clear the rooms, which are filled with different types of enemies, like either wolf or troll or slime-looking thing or whatever. And as you go through it, you fight this weird lady centipede thing at the end of it, and which is the boss. Once you beat it, you get a lamp that has a genie. The genie, you ride on the genie to the next town. From there, you meet the queen. The queen bestows you the title of warrior, and then you know there's this darkness kind of spreading over the land, and you have to go to these different areas. You get these medallions in different areas and save these different, like, I don't know if they're wizards, but like one's like an earth spirit and one's a fire spirit. It just all depends on different areas.
Brent, feel
they
free to jump in if you've played some of this too. If y'all want to do this together,
I've literally, it was right before the podcast. I played about the first 10 minutes of both games just to get the feel, because I've never played a game in the Wonder Boy series at all. But from what I played, I enjoyed. So
yeah, I'm literally in hour 4 right now, so I'm already halfway through the game. I'm already in the ice pyramid.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not a long game. I think it's like 6 hours or something like that. I'll play the Genesis one a lot, so this one's outside of that. I love this game. This remake, sorry, I probably could have done more with it. It does look good. I do like the cel shading, but it pretty much plays like an updated visual of the original game so far. So from what I can tell,
it's got full voice acting.
Almost. There's certain areas where they don't.
Cesar's like, you just wait. You haven't met the bad voice actors yet. They're coming.
It does come with Monster World 4, the original game, so that's playable on Switch and PS4 now, which was before lag behind on PS3 and 360. And that is running on an emulator with a whole bunch. I played it. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can play. You can do scan line, CRT vision. It looks pretty good, pixel perfect. Yeah, but I mean that's pretty much it. I mean you're just going through and you're trying to save this world, and at the beginning it gives you like the story bit, and they added that beginning part where it shows like the Star Wars-esque, where they give the story and where they show the final boss speaking to the wizard area, like the wizards or the bosses that are kind of guarding those different areas. That's new. That wasn't done in the original game. So I mean there's some stuff they added on there to help build up the antagonist a little bit. Because to not make it look like, oh, this is the guy you fight at the end, like you were limited on the Genesis days where like you get to this game and look, this is the boss. I mean you didn't have those games like Final Fantasy VI where you can build up good villains and carry them through sometimes.
Ooh,
so
console wars, shots are fired. Let us know in the comments your favorite Genesis game and how Cesar is wrong.
Sure. And I would look at him and like I don't care. So because I'm not gonna lose sleep on it. Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with people about what stuff people like. Everybody likes different things.
I would just like some fan interaction of any kind.
Sure, yeah. Give me your hate. I don't care.
We brought our biggest fan on the show. We don't get any feedback anymore. We fucked up.
Yeah. So outside of that, combat wise, I mean, it's just a side scroller. I don't think it ever changes that. I mean, you can go front to back. Yeah, I mean, but it's mostly left to right. You do get different weapons, swords that give you different attacks, and they can affect your magic abilities. So if you hold down the L2 or R2 or whatever the equivalent of that is, which is what ZR and ZL and Switch, as you do an attack, you'll do a magic boosted attack, but you have to do within a certain amount of hearts. So you have to have maybe 6 to do the magic attack. But if you get different swords, you can shorten it down to 4. You can also get shields, and shields protect against different elements like fire, ice, and electricity, and that just pertains to different levels you go to. And then there's like a camel. There's like a salesman by the camel who gives you bracelets, and bracelets increase your overall hearts. So you can get up to, I think, 7 on the top row, and then you collect those little moon gems as you go through. Those moon gems, when you get every 10, you get an additional heart at the bottom, so it kind of double buffs you. So it's something that built through there because some of the levels are bullshit. There's some on there that was fucking bullshit where there's a fucking ghost that comes out of the platform as I jump on there and it just fucking kills me. I'm like, it's bullshit.
And the remake does offer a, what is it? There's normal and easy mode as well.
Yeah, I just kept it normal. It's not really that hard of a game. I just kept it normal. You can play it on easy. The easy, I think they gather the health items for you automatically versus you have to go. It's like the magnetic thing where it just pulls to you instead of you having to like forcibly go over there and get it.
That's helpful.
You get these elixirs in the game when you completely die. When you get your little monster, I think it's a Pego or I forgot what it's called. Because when you die, he'll feed you an elixir, but you have an elixir that can bring you alive. So once you lose all your hearts, it'll bring you alive to where you died at. It doesn't start the level over. It starts right where you die at, which is helpful. Yep. But outside of that, I mean, each boss has his own unique abilities. I mean, there's sometimes they'll jump up at you, they'll flip upside down, and it's one of those like old school type of platformers where you have to kind of sit back and look at it like, all right, he's only attackable at this angle, and I got to stay back this far where I don't get hit. He'll jump here. It's that is definitely that old school feel. It's still there. That original gameplay is still there, and for better or worse. Some people will argue that for new players it might not be easy, but for somebody who's looking for retro play like me, it works for me. So plus I'm a fan of the original. Some people might be turned off on it. They might say, I think some of the comments, I think it was born for some people because it's the original system is archaic. So
and not readily available, right?
Yeah, I don't think it is, but outside of what Brant said, they do have an easy mode to kind of tighten it up a little bit. I'm not playing it easy, so I don't know if it makes any difference or not. So I'm playing it on normal. So I'm like halfway through it. I'm starting on the ice pyramid where I don't know who the bosses in this level is. It's to the point now where I'm in this ice pyramid where it's giving me a map. And to go through certain doors, I have to do these combinations like up, left, right to unlock the door. And if I fuck up, it throws like Indiana Jones style arrows into me and kills me. So it's constantly me remembering if it's the red door, it's this pattern. If it's the blue door, it's this pattern. So like it's that kind of stuff that turns people off. Where like I don't want to keep doing this bullshit for each level I go to this color door. It's like that old shit we used to play back in the NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis days. Which it doesn't bother me, but for somebody else who's never played that before. It's not used to those type of mechanics. Probably be turned off by it. So
you either needed an episode of Nintendo or an issue of Nintendo Power or Playground to figure out what to do next.
Yeah. So outside of that, that's it for me. Like I said, I'll probably beat it this week and get it over with. This is my.
What was that title again?
I spent. It is Wonder Boy, Aisha, and Monster World. The original was Monster World 4. Outside of that, yeah, I mean that's it. I mean this is what I'm just doing after I spent 90 hours into Mass Effect. I think that's what it told me I played total was 90. It took me 90 hours to beat all 3 games.
Damn.
So. Golly.
I did it.
It's an investment.
My mom and dad would not be proud, and I did it.
Brant, you have 15 minutes. We are at 1:33.
I'll probably finish up in 15 minutes.
Bring us home.
Or so. So, of course, I had to go back in and play Returnal. I had to beat that boss that I was at. And I did, and I got to this next area, and this next area started kicking my ass. Like, real bad.
It's almost like a transplant from last week.
So...
It's like it's always the next area, and it's like it's worse. Yeah. It's hard for me to like look forward to this game.
Yeah, sorry if you're listening to the podcast after the fact, you're going to be up to date. But if you're watching the video, you're going to be a little lost because this is just a playback of Brant's discussion from last week. He is returning the discussion he just had.
And that's the thing is, like these enemies, they're a little bit different, but it seems like more the areas that I'm in now, this new area, it's more densely populated with these enemies. There's, the enemies have ramped up yet again to become more hard, and it's just being swarmed by them. So I made a few attempts. I took a break. I came back to it. I made another attempt. And the last areas, and I talked about how to get to the boss fight, I had to go collect 2 keys, and now I actually have to go collect 3 keys. So, but after a few attempts, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this a break. I'm still digging it, but it's right now it's killing me.
What's this new
So,
area look like? The last one was like a Martian thing, right? Like red rocks and stuff.
This is more themed around like snow, ice.
Do
So
you slide on the snow? Is it like the NES, like Ninja Gaiden or
no,
Mega Man or something? Or do you fucking slide on
no,
that
no.
shit?
Oh my gosh, that would be horrible. No, I never
That's grounds
slid
for
into the
deletion.
ice.
Trading in.
Yeah. People
Um,
complain about water levels. I'm like, y'all motherfuckers didn't have NES
you don't
games
have
where you
ice levels.
slid. What the
And it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because that fucking Wonder Boy that where I'm at is a fucking ice level where
You're sliding.
Yep.
I'm like great. This is
That's the
happening,
fucking
and I
worst.
slide into somebody else's sword. And I'm like, there's nothing I can do.
Thank you.
I just have to
Thank
sit
you,
there and slide
physics.
into
I
this.
know when I jump, it's gonna be
Yep.
2 frames to the right every time.
My regular shoes are like ice skates, but I have no ice skates. I don't know how that happens. So
But no, I went back into the castle for Resident Evil's Village,
you almost said
and
7. I got you.
I almost said 7.
Yes.
I really did.
Why'd you go back to 7?
I don't know. I just felt like
It's
it.
on the game
No, but
collection.
I did go ahead and get back into the castle. And last week, trying to remember, it was very, very soon. I had just gotten in the castle and I had run into the merchant again because he's got like a little room off to the side in the castle. And so you go through. I went through the whole castle. Fought the 3 sisters, which you have like little mini encounters with them, and then eventually, Lady Dimitrescu is not very happy about this, so you have to go and find some special item, and then you have your encounter with her, which is a pretty good battle. It's a good battle. I
Oh, a
loved.
culmination with the tall, sexy vampire lady.
Oh, she's she's definitely bigger once she gets even more mad and grows her wings and whatnot.
Whoa.
Yeah, you don't want to look for that type of porn.
No, probably not.
Rule 34.
It would-
No wings.
It would cross into you or digging into animal stuff, and that's what you like. So. Dragon porn,
What
like
rule was
live
that?
action dragon.
Oh, okay. Not like. Okay. Brant, go back to please. Brant, please go back to what you were talking.
What do you think? Yeah, what are you talking? What are you thinking about? Like cats
No,
and dogs? What's wrong?
Brant,
So-
please go back to Resident Evil.
Anyway, so
It takes a village.
the next
mystical animals, dragons.
Fantastical
area-
animals. Fantastical animals.
the next area you go to, it's
Brant's gonna
it's another house, because you run into the merchant and he tells you about all the different houses that are around, because there's 4 main houses that are under Mother Miranda, and they all have these because on your way out of the castle you grabbed this flask. It's just a container. It's like a weird yellow looking container, and then it's got a family crest on top. So he tells you about all the 4 families, and each one has a different flask, and you have to collect them to do this, and blah 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 blah.
You have
So-
you have 4 classes are Slytherin, Gryffindor.
Hufflepuff and
Did
Ravenclaw.
the other 2 matter?
No, not
I don't
really.
think so.
I don't know the references, so.
So, so the
All I
next
know is
place
Prisoner
you
Azkaban
wind up.
Best movie. That's all.
Is what? I can't hear you.
Prisoner Azkaban is the best movie.
It's the best movie. The game. The game. The game. Sure.
The g-
The movie. The movie.
I'm
The
sure there
movie.
was a game,
The book is really good too.
Yeah.
but the next area you go to, it gets kind of trippy. It goes into a kind of different variation of gameplay, and I get what they were trying to do, switching it up, because it gets more like psychological horror on
PT.
you.
It's definitely PT.
Um,
Nice.
you basically the game puts you through like a head trip, and so during this whole time you're not using any of your weapons, you're going through, but then it becomes completely puzzle based, and you're going from like 4 or 5 different rooms looking for different things to go back to this one puzzle and constantly like piece it together. To me, that was the most tedious part of the game, and it was actually getting on my nerves.
No, sir, they took the weapons away from you when I needed it the most. That's what pissed me off.
Do they do it through the story, or do they take your weapons from you?
It is
No. It's
story-based objective.
Okay.
Yeah, it's story based.
It is PT-esque where they experience you go through a haunted house type thing. It's what they want in that game. It is PT where you're going through the rooms and there's certain things you're faced with fear that you have to just deal with and figure a way around with. And
Well, that's the thing.
I've been killed multiple times trying to I went the wrong way and I died because there's no other option. So it's like either you go the right way or you die. So.
Well, that's the thing is I didn't have any problems in that house, and it. I'm sure some people would absolutely loved it, but I got to the point where I'm like, I'm tired of this. I want something to happen. Well, then something finally happened, and and that section like turns from like that just cycle. Something is like super messed up in that part. It's probably the scariest part in this game. And that really kind of turned it around for me there, because I was like, man, this part sucks.
They brought back the Metal Gear lockers in there where you hide in lockers and shit.
Oh,
you have to hide in lockers in there and watch around it and the peepholes and shit. So
did you know he jerks off in the lockers in Metal Gear Solid 2?
Yeah, I mean, that's why the there. Yeah. That's why they had the pinup girls in there.
I know, but I didn't know that there was an action involved with it.
I mean, we're talking about Hal, who pissed himself inside a locker, so there's a lot of locker action in the Metal Gear series.
Yeah, it's true. All right, Brant, back to your locker talk.
Well, he's like, he didn't even bring up lockers at all. He's like, what the fuck?
You guys shoehorned me into this. I don't give a shit about lockers.
I eventually, you eventually go to the, you get out of that area, you get back, you get to a different part of the house, and you have the, I guess, the boss encounter. That as well was kind of underwhelming for me for this part. But you get through that.
Did it not meet expectations, or it wasn't as interesting, or what kind of fell off for you as far as the boss encounter?
You're basically playing, it's almost like a game of tag. Almost like the boss like taunts you, runs away, and you have to go find them, interact with them, and then they run away again, and that happens a couple times, and then it's it. That's like the whole interaction.
All right, my brain's on Metal Gear now. Is that the way you played it, or could you have like hid in the locker and the time could have run out and the boss died?
That's the boss fight.
What Brant's trying to say is, at some point they explain in the story, you get induced with certain drugs.
Yeah.
That gives you like a fog-induced vision and way of thinking where kind of there's a lot of stuff that's happening that it's not really happening. Okay. The boss is running around from room, and there's a lot of enemies that look similar to that boss. So you have to look around and look for smears of blood to find out where the boss went to.
Almost.
Yeah,
I got you.
See, I never even encountered many other enemies in that whole portion, and I'm playing on normal, like you were.
That whole level was done as more of a throwback and style of like I said, PT. Where when you play PT, it wasn't that much action based. Mm-hmm. It was more of a psychological horror. The next bit you go into for the next boss plays completely different than the first two. So like I said, it's something a little bit for everybody. They were trying to appease all audiences with the game. So you got to remember the original Resident Evil 7 was made by the old PT crew. So I think this was their way of making amends. Like, hey, this is what we could have done with this thing. So there's a lot of people on Twitter that wish that whole game was based off that Benvenuto's house, which I don't think it should have, but there's some people who digged it. So.
Yes, that was to me. That was a lull of the game, and it wasn't to me. It wasn't the best part. Because I talked about it last week, where
You're
this
wrong
is
according to
definitely,
Twitter, Brant.
huh?
Twitter disagrees.
And
I
they're always
love
not right.
this because it's the marriage of 7 and 4. It seems like.
I keep
Um,
hearing that.
but the thing is, like, it's got all the best parts of 4 without having to escort Ashley, or the
Ashley was fine.
Ashley,
Ashley.
That was the best part of 4. What game did you play? Was my
or
favorite
the
bit.
or the quick time events. There's no quick time events.
You have to fight a knife guy in the fucking warehouse.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
For a
But
game I don't know and played, I remember a lot of bullshit from it. So
I
It had
played
some
that game
bullshit
so
moments.
many times. I played it on GameCube a bunch. I played it on PS2.
Let's
Then I
all
bought it
play
on
through it
Wii.
together. Let's
I'm
fire up
waiting for-
PS4s, all three of us. Let's start fresh, and let's all play through Resident Evil 4 and do the controller swap thing.
I'm waiting for
Gosh.
Brant to get to the island of Dr. Moreau first.
So anyway, yeah,
Apparently, he gets there.
I go to the next section, which is like a swamp section, and the I won't say that, like, the family that, it's a different clan, it's a different crest of a different families over this one. And this is a person that lives in a swamp. He's weird looking, he's deformed, he feels like he's the lesser of all of the families. And
his name is Moreau. We can call him Moreau.
yeah. So you basically just like go through this little path, and he's like just sitting there, like in this room. He's like throwing up on himself and everything. And you just kind of like stick your head in the window, grab the flask, and you're like, "See ya, asshole." And he flips out, and then he winds up. He can like make these weird like slimy walls and stuff like up here and stuff. But you wind up going through his little area, which you wind up encountering Chris and some of the other soldiers are there. They're looking for you, and they're trying to figure out what else is going on in this village. Because as Cesar has said, there's some hints, and there's some pretty blatant hints that a certain company has been there before, or has some ties to this.
Enron.
Yes, Enron.
Yep. That's how
It's
Dick
always
Cheney started.
Enron.
Dick Cheney came out this game.
But so what ensues from this is kind of akin to a certain interaction you had in Resident Evil 4. Again, without QuickTime events, you didn't have to waggle with the Wiimote or your stick. And then it turns into a pretty interesting boss fight. And then I did find out, if you're gonna play this, which I strongly suggest that, especially you, Richard, you liked 4. It was the only Resident Evil you've beaten.
Still.
I think you'd enjoy this thoroughly. It's a really, really good game.
You can watch the video in the beginning for 7. You can skip 7 altogether.
Yeah, you can completely skip 7
guys
if you
loved
want
it,
to.
though.
Or oh yeah, it's good.
If you want to play 7, play 7. The more the better. I'm just saying, if you wanted to go straight to 8, because they play completely different.
Could you play it afterwards? Could you play 7 and still get something playing as a prequel to 8?
Yeah, you'd still. I mean, it's an experience in itself. It goes over that little clip in the beginning. It goes over the main highlights of the story, but it's not going to give away a lot of the twists, a lot of the fights, a lot of the stuff you experience in that game.
Oh, I mean, Brent hasn't even got to the twist at the end of 8 that destroys 7. So
Oh boy.
So maybe there is no going back.
So, oh my gosh, what I found out is you may want to find like a non-spoilery guide, because there are certain things. Cesar brought up that there's rather than buying certain health upgrades or things like that, like you did in 7, they had like steroids and something. What was the other one to upgrade your health and your stamina?
Green
But in
herbs.
this game, um, those are just for healing.
There was a lot of mixing in 7.
Yeah.
You don't have that capability in 8.
They do recipes.
It's recipes, and it's only to a certain extent. You can make ammo and other shit, ammo and health drinks, but it's not as deep as. I think it was a lot harder to make shit in 7 than it was in 8. I mean, you had to find like a whole bunch of fucking herbs and a whole bunch of. I was like,
there
damn,
a lot
I
of
made
craft?
all that
They're
shit.
limited.
7 was more craft heavy. You can craft on 8, but it's very light and it's more easier to find the items lying around. You get them dropped from enemies, kind of like I guess 4 would be. I guess did 4 do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I just remember Astley.
But the there are some areas that if you miss certain ingredients, you're screwed. Because there are certain parts of this map that once you go through and you leave, you can't come back to. And I haven't found that out until later. So I've literally, I want to say it's 6 different recipes all together.
Oh god, I almost said Resident Evil 6. I was almost out. I was logging off the podcast.
And I've made every single recipe except for one, because there was an area with fish that I completely missed, like 2 areas with fish, and now I can't go back. And that's like these 6 fish are the only things I'm missing.
You can't go back to it at all? It's closed off?
No.
You'll be surprised. Double check that map. I thought the same thing too. There's a legend fish that you get after you beat the Marola area.
I got that.
There's a lot that you can go back and get. So there's not too much.
I'm kind of past the point of no return.
You beat the game already?
No.
Oh. I mean, there's no point in coming back. I mean, you talking about going through the final areas?
Yeah.
Oh man, you should have known better. No offense.
I tried. I went around.
I'm doing tough love. You should have known better. I'm doing the same thing I do with Richard when he beats games. Tough love.
Hey, I went around. I collected some fish and things and went to some different areas. So after you beat Dr. Moreau, Mr. Moreau, you wind up getting a message from the last person, which is this guy named Heisenberg. And he wants you to... He just basically wants to talk with you, is what he says.
That always Nick Cage voice.
That always goes well.
Yeah.
Sounds like a bootleg Nick Cage. He's like, I always think of National Treasure 3, what could have been. He's just talking to me like, this is what I want you to do. It's like, that's how he talks. Like,
really?
So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's very Nick Cage in it.
Do you think they were asking him to do that? Like, here's how we want you to sound.
I don't know.
Like, did you like National Treasure 1? Did you like National Treasure 2? So imagine you are... I almost said Stanley Goodspeed. What the fuck was his name?
What?
That was The Rock?
Yes, it was The Rock. What the fuck was his name? Gates. Something Gates. Because it was the Gates family in the second one.
Like Thomas Gates? I can't remember what it was. It was some weird. It was some basic name, first name.
Benjamin?
Might have been Benjamin
Gates. Franklin Gates?
I think they gave him a hard time because he was named after Benjamin Franklin or something like that.
Oh,
so you have heard of me.
But yeah, he talks weird, but he tells you his flask is over here in this area, and you know he wants you to go get it and then come find him. So he sent you to this damn area, and it's like infested with enemies. And I did something in this area I didn't know you could do. I posted it to our Instagram.
That was awesome.
So you're in like it's outdoors, but you know there's like stone steps and stone pillars and everything. So I'm doing some stuff. I get behind a pillar, I craft something. I come out, and at this point in the game, some of the enemies have crossbows. and I or like a bow and arrow, something is, but it's flaming arrows are coming at you. So I come out of the column, I pull up the sniper rifle, and I lock in on him, and I go to shoot, and all of a sudden I just see this puff of like wood particles go everywhere, and I'm like, what the heck did I just shoot his arrow? And I had to save that clip because I didn't even know it was possible, but I just he shot his arrow at me in midair. I just shot it out of the air.
Almost like where you could shoot the axes and stuff out of midair.
Yeah.
At this point, if you can climb a mountain, you can do anything in the video game. So.
See that mountain?
Yeah.
You see that arrow? You can shoot it.
Welcome to.
Or if you can fight giant crabs or anything you can think of, we can do it.
Relive historical battles where you can fight giant enemy crabs.
To be done.
Remember those giant crab fights from history?
Oh, Sony. Oh, Sony.
But no, I've gotten all the way through that and put all the flasks in the area I needed to, and I collected this big ass chalice, and then now I'm in Heisenberg's workshop, and now I'm surrounded by I'm going through it.
Very Doomish, right? Doomish,
very
Wolfenstein-ish.
Very Doom-esque, indeed.
Lots of ammo.
The enemies are built like Wolfenstein, like robotic human type people. It's like this man is. We can't go into the story, but he is definitely building an army for a reason that is story based.
Yeah.
He is producing numerous amounts of soldiers, different abilities. One has a fucking airplane propeller as a body, has no arms,
yeah,
and it just charges at you. So
it's freaking weird. And dude has he's attached like drills to their arms and all sorts of weird stuff. I mean, like you encounter like, you know, typical Resident Evil enemies, like I would just say undead. I wouldn't even call them zombies. Of course, you've seen the lichens from the trailers, and then all of a sudden you go to this guy's place and it's completely just off the wall. These bizarre enemies. Like, the first thing you see, first enemy you see is what he's talking about. It's like this giant. It's like a pair of legs with a giant motor on top of it with like a fan blade. But like the fan blades are like chainsaws, and this thing like chases you.
It sounds like something from Sid's bedroom.
It's fucking weird, dude.
You can tell he's not drinking the same Kool-Aid as Mother Miranda.
Yeah.
So even though technically they're part of that family,
he's gone rogue.
You can definitely tell. You can definitely tell he's not in that same camp.
He's not after what Mother Miranda's after. He wants that Declaration of Independence.
Are we back to National Treasure with that reference?
Back to National Treasure.
Yeah, somehow Sean Bean... Did Sean Bean die in that movie too?
No, they arrested him in the first one. They kill Ed Harris in the second one. That's the big thing. Ed Harris sacrifices himself.
I just remember Sean Bean dies, and he died in the first season of Game of Thrones. That's all I remember.
Yeah, so very end.
But no, I've gotten to the second floor in there. And I mean this game, the way it weaves all the different enemies, this story that's just evolving. They do what Cesar was saying. It's kind of this drip of story. I'd say you get more story in this one throughout the game than you did in 7. Because in 7 it was like you'd get like a small piece here.
Yeah,
and they pooped it out.
And then you'd play like another few hours, and then you'd get maybe another tiny bit, and then right before the game ends, you get this humongous thing of story. But this,
nothing like a lore dump.
But this one, I mean, with every different area, yeah, it is. It really is. But as you're going through this one, if you're going through each different area and you're picking up the little letters and reading them, and you're looking at all the different inspectable items and stuff, you get a good bit in every different area about each different person, about what's going on there, and so, and then that mixed with the just the more action oriented, because this, it does take me back to 4, and 4 is probably my favorite Resident Evil.
It's a good ass game.
As far as like past Resident Evil,
Right.
I really enjoyed 4.
It's like
5 was
it's like mid-tier Resident Evil.
Yeah, 5 was like
Action.
5 was like Call of Duty Resident Evil. It was only really like a great Resident Evil because it had that co-op feature.
I love the co-op.
And then
me and Cesar had a good time with it.
And then 6 was 6.
Chicken eggs or whatever that was, and we're stopped at and finding chicken eggs.
But 6 was 6, and people stopped caring.
6.
And
like
then
that,
7 came along. 7 came along and respun the series, and 7 probably became my top tier Resident Evil game.
Oh, they basically have
1,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9, right?
Yeah,
like Final Fantasy.
I mean, I've played, a lot of the originals and things like that, and of course it's hard to go back with the tank controls. I've played the 2 remake and everything, but definitely that.
You want to talk about tank controls, sir? Let me introduce you to a game called Silent Hill.
Silent Hill, yeah.
Oh.
But yes.
Oh God, audio listeners, you're fucking missing out.
But yeah, with 7 and 4 being probably my top Resident Evil games for sure, they're up there. This one is scratching the itch so good, and I can't see where it's going, but it's got me pulled in so much as far as the story. I have to know because they keep just like barely teasing, and
that's awesome.
It's good. And I mean, Cesar said that the end of the game is pretty how do I say it? Like, is just, it changes everything. It blows 7 up. It kind of changes, like it ends this story completely.
You're excited for that.
Those 2 games work well together.
Mm-hmm.
They just work. They're cohesive, even though they play completely different. They just cohesive story wise, and they tie them in well. It's not. It is a great feat because it's not something that can be done very easily, and it doesn't happen often.
And that's just good game design, right? Like, you guys just played both of those back to back, just about, and that rings true now. But for people who play the remasters in 10 years, they'll also recognize that.
Hopefully.
Well, shoot, not a Hero DLC. I mean, it kind of reminds me of. It kind of reminded me of this gameplay now, how it is here. It's a little bit more action oriented.
It's definitely a different game. I remember. We heard those rumors where they were debating whether this was going to be Resident Evil 8 or something different. So
yeah.
So I mean, you can definitely tell that they weren't sure where they were going to go with it.
This is the Final Fantasy 9 of Resident Evils.
Sure. I don't know if it'll be old school Resident Evil, where I would think Final Fantasy 9 would be like old school Final Fantasy, but
I was more geared on the offshoot concept. That's what they thought that was going to be.
I don't know. It's not as bad as 8 with the fucking junction system. I love 8, but that junction system sucks.
Resident Evil 8 junction system.
How far would you say I am from the end, Cesar? Am I pretty close?
What was the last thing you did? You're playing as?
Huh? I haven't played as a different character yet.
Okay.
I've.
It does the same thing where 7, where you kind of switch to another character to continue the story.
Gotcha.
So if you're still playing the same character, you probably got another 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half, the most.
Yeah, I've gotten to the part where, I went through the first level of Eisenberg's lab, and I'm was running through that labyrinth, getting away from all the drill arm dudes.
That boss battle was fun as hell. Enjoy it.
Really.
It's fun. It's very different. Some people didn't like it. I enjoyed the hell of it. It was completely different. Like I said, how you felt about the House of Benevenito. and how it kind of detracted differently from the original first part of the game in Dimitris's castle.
Mm-hmm.
That boss battle with in Heisenberg's factory is very different and it's fantastic. It is fucking Castle Wolfenstein to the walls, Doom style. It is over the top.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, but hopefully, I'm probably gonna beat that this weekend.
As you should. And I will slowly converse and try to remind Richard on pressing start on Mass Effect 2. That's all I'm asking. Not even playing it, just press start.
Dose.
Load previous save. That's all you have to do.
We are occupied this weekend. No promises, but it is definitely high on my list.
Oh, I didn't give a time limit. I'm just saying that's just my goal. So.
I was looking at other BioWare games. Like, I love the way the story broke down. Have you guys played any other that had this type of like choices? And I think I was saying earlier on that I really enjoyed like the story part of it. The gameplay is good, but I was totally there for those decisions and kind of shaping the futures of those characters in that galaxy.
I had the same thing with Dragon Age. When you go through the first game, there's certain characters you interact with, build relationships with, make certain decisions. A lot of people weren't happy with Dragon Age 2, but when your character saved over, you did pull some people from the original Dragon Age, which kind of added on. They're like, oh, I remember this person. I remember this, this person. And it kind of changed the way the story was played a little bit. That kind of pick your own adventure. I mean, that was something that BioWare was big in Windows 2 games. So, I mean, you can do something like Dragon Age to get that itch and get that, scratch that itch and be more of a fantasy, medieval style type one. I don't think it's as deep as Mass Effect, but it's something that can kind of get
I love
close.
that sci-fi.
Like you get to that point where you're just like near the mosquito bite, but you don't actually get the mosquito bite.
I watched a blip of Jade Empire too, and it seemed to have a little bit of that ground level, conversation stuff there too.
I don't know, man. That's why I play visual novels, man.
I see it. I get the appeal now.
You just can't. You just don't do the non. Just got to do the non-weeb ones. That's all.
Non-naughty.
I don't. Well, I mean, you don't want to play the ones where you're always like the high school boy in high school and.
No, I live that life already.
It's like the slice of life. It's like those slice of life ones, like the anime slice of life, where it's always like high school drama. The girl never likes the guy, and somehow the guy gets the girl at the end. That type of thing.
Of course.
It's like one of those. It's like one of those weird romantic comedies from like Hallmark mixed with like Disney Channel characters or something like that.
Christmas Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
All right, we are 20 minutes past our hour 48. Are we good? Did we blow it open?
We're good.
I'm waiting for Brant to go on his spiel about Bloodstain and sell me on it.
All right, Brant. Bloodstain 2 is in development. Thoughts? What do you think? What do you want from the next Bloodstain? Let's fucking go. So that's all you want to throw it out there. Let's fucking go. They already said they're making it. Let's go, Brant.
Fucking do it.
We'll play it. We'll pass the controller on that one after we sit down and do it.
Yes.
He froze. We're out.
We got the drunk Brant for a second.
Yeah, I know. He froze. We'll pass the controller.
God bless the internet.
Oh man! All right, good episode, guys. It was a lot of good conversations. This was a good one. 161 is an important number. I'm glad we fulfilled the promise. Brant, do you remember what episode you started on?
Like 116, 17, something like that.
Yeah, you're building up.
I feel like
you're getting pretty high on there. Yeah. All right, join us for Brant's 50th episode next week. Guesstimate. But thank you guys for joining us this week, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.
See you.